Ramrod.
Good evening and welcome back to 3 Live Stream. We got a great one for you tonight. We got some real bangers here, and we are going to be reviewing Transformers Rise of the Beasts, which would be the 7th live action Transformers movie. Yes. Let me get this banner up because this is going to contain spoilers. So if you have not seen the movie and you don't want to be spoiled, please back out now. But anyway, we got a lot of awesome motherfuckers here tonight. We're going to start it off. We got Marcos from M3 Reviews as always. What's up, Marcos?
Hello.
We have got Briag 45 anointed as the king of lore by Pate for Life himself. What's up, Briag?
Yo, man.
And we got down here. Hey, you know what? I'm gonna let somebody do their own introduction. But we got Dare 2727. Boy, what's up?
What's up, YouTube? It's your boy DR2727. Shout out my Transformer collectors, 1/12 scale collectors, whatever you collect. Shout out to you.
And hey, meow.
Hey.
We got the man.
Cola.
We got the man Ramrod down there. He doesn't want a liter of cola. That's far of it, bro. But Ramrod and Briag 45, you guys know if you know, but if you don't know, we also review the IDW 2005 to 2018 series, and these two gentlemen, Ramrod and Briag 45, do it with me. So if you have not seen that, catch that. And I'm going to shout the chat before we let the man take over this introduction. But we got Crimson Raptors in the house. We got Big Oom. Let's see, Moto Viper 21. And shout out to all my 3 Live podcast squad. Like everybody that does this show is nothing but fam. We got Moto Viper 21. We got Gushing Galvatron. We got, man, don't let me forget the crew. Bullwinkle 80. We got Curtis Schultz, man. Shout out to DFS, Jay Holla. And I'm going to get to pop the trunk. Pop. What's up? But I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to the man, Big Stan, and let him run roughshod. Go wild on this bitch. Go ahead, Big Stan.
Well, as I always say, what up and what's happening to all of my fellow Transformers fans and collectors out there. Once again, it is your big homie, Big Stan, coming at you on the 3 Live Stream for a special edition featuring more than meets the eyes, baby. Robots in the skies, baby. That's right, we're covering the latest release, the Transformers Rise of the Beast. It's going down right here, right now on the 3 Live Stream, baby. Deal.
Marcos, go ahead, Marcos.
That was fucking great, dude. Man, I know that was on the rip, dude. Like fucking, you didn't even think of that. That was quick flick, man. Sick.
That's why, man. So anybody that doesn't know that's watching this later on, maybe hasn't seen this channel before, Big Stan is a professional wrestler. He wrestles for the Southwest Professional Wrestling outfit, and he was the first ever Texarkana champion for SPW as well. And I'm trying to get you no heat, bro, but that boy gonna get what he's got coming to him.
Hey, brother, don't worry about it. Say what you got to say, because I guarantee you this. Everywhere I go, everywhere I turn, everybody's letting me know here locally, Big Stan, you have to regain the most coveted prize in all of professional wrestling in this area, which happens to be the Texarkana Wrestling Championship. And you can rest assured, before it's all said and done, Big Stan will become, once again, your reigning and defending Texarkana Wrestling Champion.
Yeah. I don't want to get him in trouble, but damn it. I'll keep my words. I'll keep my words to myself.
We'll save it for another day.
Yes. It is great to talk to you guys. Like I said, this is a big ass fucking family. We're all cool together, and it is good to talk some Transformers. So I'll have to wait for Marcos or he's going to miss it. But we got a special now. Where is he? Marcos. I think he's busy. But everybody on the panel has obviously, if we're going to have spoilers, everybody has seen the movie. We will kind of discuss different parts of it and just kind of let you guys know, as I was talking about in the comments of another video, we have like over 150 experience hours, or I'm sorry, years between experience with all of us. So I've got almost 40 years. I've been in on Transformers since the rip. I know Briag 45 has. So there's a lot of freaking Transformer knowledge on this. There's a lot of collectors here. I think actually everybody here collects Transformers. So comic book readers, movie watchers, cartoon enthusiasts, it's all covered right here. So you ain't watching no Buster ass live stream right here, bro. We're gonna know what's happening. We know what's going on. But I'm gonna go ahead and let Briag. You want to go ahead and tell them what needs to be made great again, sir?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like a tree off right now.
I think everybody in this great country knows the Transformers. I personally know the Transformers. They're some of the best. You know, they've been here since the '80s. I've been here since the '80s. They're just absolutely great, and they need to be made great again.
Make Transformers great again. That's what needs to happen. Oh shit, that's hilarious.
MTGA.
What is it, Marcos? MTGA.
Excellent. MTGA, man. Hey, I'm so sorry. You guys, my friend Julio came over and I just kind of gave him the rundown about us. We have to be quiet and shit. So he's like, okay, you got any super glue? I'm going to put the super glue right here. But we know that we wanted to keep it. So we're just going to drink beers and listen. But damn it, I missed that fucking, I missed that impersonation. Shit.
You better watch it on the rip, bro. But hey, let's go ahead and fire this bitch off. So, anybody got any comments right off? We're gonna start about the intro. Thoughts on the intro, Dare?
I thought it was cool. It kind of dropped you right into everything or whatever. So I thought that was kind of like we getting going real quick or whatever. And it gave you kind of those 86 vibes. So I was like, okay, it gave me high expectations to get going or whatever. So, it can't top Bumblebee, right? Like Bumblebee gave us that 80 service from the, seeing all the bots from, in a possible Cybertronian modes. But this one gave you Unicron and gave you kind of, you got to see the character Maximals and stuff. So I was cool with it. I thought it was one of the best ways to start Transformers, because outside of Bumblebee, they pretty much have all started slow, and this one actually started pretty fast.
Yeah. We're just going to go around a Ramrod, the big stand. Go ahead. Let's talk about the intro. Your thoughts on it?
I thought it was pretty good. I think Dare's hit the nail on the head there. Really fast-paced start. And I'm not the biggest Beast Wars expert, but they all looked pretty accurate. I knew who I was looking at, and their modes looked on, spot on. I really loved them. And I like Unicron, and I'm interested to see where we're gonna, go with him in the future.
Go on, take a big stand.
All right, first off, shout out to Julio for joining us.
What's up, guys?
Right? Yeah,
Thank you.
I'm gonna have to ride piggyback off of Dare, and again, just reiterate how everything dropped in, right off the bat, right off the rip. But it was not hard to keep up with what was going on. Everything was explained well, and the way that I like to give my review or take on a film or something of that matter, I'm gonna say it can either be done right, which means it's following all of the content and continuity and material that came before ever going into live action. It can be done right, it can be done well, which means you put your own take and emphasis on it, or it can be botched and jacked up. all the way across. So I would go as far as to say that it was done well, if nothing else. I like the way Unicron is being portrayed in this movie, and also along with Ramrod, I like the way the Beast Wars characters were represented.
I'm going to go ahead and Marcos, you have a lot of notes. Did you have a lot of notes on the intro? Because I won't let Bragg go last on the intro because I want, you know what I want you to touch on. But do you have some notes you want to go? You want to fire off about the intro?
Not for the intro exactly, but I can go off for the intro real quick. The intro was fucking amazing from the first, right when the stars were coming across the lake for, say, Paramount in the circle, sitting down in the theater and fucking gonna gain all this fucking Transformer energy. I was down for that fucking shit, man. So it was fucking already perfect. Then the sounds, and it dropped right on that fucking shit, dude. And I'll tell you what, man, Unicron, I was probably maybe one of 5 guys, you know, that had a fucking raging boner. It was fucking dope, dude. I loved it 100%. The intro was fire as fuck, dude. And that's where I was like, I'm going in on this. I'm gonna see what else they got. And Scourge, thank you. At first, when I see you, I see the toys at first and shit. But okay, I'll stop. But the intro was great, and that's what just held me and fucking kept me just watching
Hard the whole time.
the whole time.
Cool.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Derek.
I want to say Scourge gave me the boner. So Unicron was cool, but seeing Scourge come in there and kick some, you know, do what he do, you know what I'm saying? Like him doing what he do got me ready to go or whatever. So
Yeah, y'all didn't know. Y'all didn't know that this was going to happen right here. Pow. Man shit. You're going to get man shit here. Fuck the dumb shit. But Jay Hollis says, let me get this right here before Bragg goes. Jay Hollis says, come on, fire up. All around, I think Return of the Revenge.
Rise.
Hold on a second. Rise of the Beast. God damn it tonight,
Right
bro.
there.
I know. Rise of the Beast is better than Bumblebee. Not gonna lie, I'll get to more of my thoughts on that, but let me get caught up in chat. This. I think the Strand Icon. Yeah, okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, what's up, JJ Prime?
Yeah.
What's happening? So go ahead, Bragg, about the beginning. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so starting with the Paramount cut in, I love that they changed the sound effects. Even a comment I made to you in the theater is, you think of the old G1 transformation sound, and you always wonder how they're going to synthesize that for modern day, and it just sounded just right. I know we've heard it since 2007, but it never stops getting me excited to watch the movie. When they drop you right into the action, it was very succinct. It wasn't too quick. It wasn't fast. It wasn't too slow. It was just right. They gave you just enough action and information and lead in to the movie so you know what was going on, but it wasn't so slow that you weren't bored. The whole hook, line, and sinker thing, I think the hook did good on this one. As for Scourge, one of the big things that I always wonder about is when they get big name actors to do voice acting. If for all you that don't know, Peter Dinklage did the voice of Scourge. Game of Thrones, the little guy, you know, the dwarf.
Fuck yes.
Yeah.
Fuck yes. That is perfect.
He did a phenomenal job, and
did.
his attitude towards Ape Link was perfect. For, you know, he had him on the ropes. He knew exactly where he had him. Even his attitude of just what happened, and with them escaping with the transwarp key, he knew that they were going to find him and follow him. So he was all nonchalant about taking care of business. So the intro for me was perfect. Left me wanting more information, and it leaves me also excited that we have the opportunity of a branching storyline where we could get Beast Wars movies that are completely separate from what's happening right now.
Yeah, so the intro for me, fucking fire, man. So I'm gonna equate this intro, okay? That's gonna lead into my next kind of topic. fucking best Transformer movie intros. When you think of the best Transformer movie intro, are just guns fucking come firing out. I think of Dark of the Moon with the scenes with the fucking spaceships, bro. That was fucking on point, dude. That reminded me of Star Wars Revenge of the Sith at the beginning. Bro, that was fucking on fire. Go ahead.
Continue. I just got my point on that.
Go on. So if I'm rating these, intros, so Transformers the movie 86 came in with guns a-blazing, right? That's one thing about that movie. It came in so hard. The first 40 minutes or 45 minutes or whatever it was so fucking intense that the rest of the movie kind of was like it went downward, you know. Autobots were fucking dying. Megatron was badass. It was just tight right off the rip. And I thought this one, I don't think 07 came in off the rip like this motherfucker did. It was tight. But that's what I have to say. I'm going to rank this as the best intro for live action movies that they've done out of the 7.
Wow.
What do you think, Big Stan? If you kind of rank them, what do you think?
Oh, man, it's right up there with Bumblebee.
Oh,
you know, but I mean, it's kind of hard to weigh them out at this junction, man. I would have to actually. It's one of the things where I would have to actually go back and look at it again, you know, and kind of compare to Bumblebee, because right now the Bumblebee intros is got me. You know, that's to me, that's the measuring stick right now. It's like when it comes to Transformers intros, you have to outdo Bumblebee in order to be number one.
If I could just piggyback a little bit off what you're saying or go with you, the thing for me and my personal preference is why I think this is better than Bumblebee. Bumblebee was heavy CGI'd. You could tell that those bots weren't even close to being real. Unfortunately, you know what I'm saying? Anytime that they were on Cybertron, they look great, right? But you could tell they weren't really real. These motherfuckers look straight, dude. So
and it depends on what you're judging it from. You know what I'm saying? And I get your point. You know, I guess my deal is, because if we're going to go off of the top 3, we're matching up on that, which is the Dark of the Moon, Bumblebee, and Rise of the Beast, and all of those. Well, Dark of the Moon and Bumblebee are both based from the Cybertron War, so this one here is actually, you know, on Earth, or just kind of like a mixture of space and Earth. So either way, I mean, I get your point.
Yeah, it's just so on this show, if you like it, that's great. If you don't like it, you're also cool too. Your personal preference doesn't change who the fuck you are. Go ahead, Marcos.
Oh no, I was shouting out JJ. JJ's fucking shit.
Yeah, JJ Pierce says, so for my rating, so far my rating has Rise of the Beast at the number 1 spot. We'll start rating that pretty soon. So I'm going to keep it moving, but go ahead. We're going to go around. Ramrod, Dare, Briag, what do you think about as of rating this, the intro to the rest of the franchise?
Well, you know, I like what Big Stan says. Bumblebee, I think, started that intro, you know, the action intro, and then, you know, Rise of the Beast, you know, one-upped it. So, I mean, I want to give props to Bumblebee because I think they did that right. And they also, and we'll get into more of this later, but they also had the flashback of Cybertron, which I know everybody loved. Any G1 fans, you know, loved that flashback. But that's my opinion.
Go ahead, Dare.
Yeah, I still think Bumblebee holds the crown because it gave me a whole bunch of War for Cybertron, Fall of Cybertron vibes. And so those video games kind of, I always loved Transformers since 84, but like those are kind of like, you know, you leave it alone, but it got me right back in. So like the way it presented like that, so it tugged at my heartstrings a little more. But I think that this was the second best. I think that Rise of the Beast was the second best. Again, Scourge, and like Briag said, they did just not too much, not too little, just the right amount. And the way he took that the Autobot symbol and tattooed himself with it just hit on my kind of heart. That's just something I got tattooed, so it just kind of, you know, hit me doubly hard. So Rise of the Beast second, Dark of the Moon to be third for us, just intros. So sorry to be so long-winded.
No, you're good. Go ahead, Brienne.
For me, so I do like the Bumblebee intro because it scratches the nostalgia itch that I feel like we've all kind of been clamoring for since the first 2007 movie, but really the first three movies, you know, how I felt like those were really good. The fourth and fifth were just kind of meh. But the intro for Rise of the Beasts, it's in the same vein as me for Bumblebee because it does the same thing for me for Beast Wars that the G1 intro did in Bumblebee. So for me, they're on kind of the same level, but a different vein.
Okay. I wanted to touch base a little bit on the intro. I know we got to keep moving along a little bit, but you're a Beast Wars fan, Briag. The Apeling character at the beginning. How do you think they did there?
So the most experience I have with Ape Link is he was a toy repaint of Optimus Primal way back in the day in the 90s when they did Transmetals. And I like that I guess you could call him a no-name character because I don't think anybody really knows who Ape Link is. But I like that they at least gave him some speaking part. He was voiced by David Sobolov, who also voiced Rhinox, who also voiced Depth Charge in the original Beast Wars, who also voiced Shockwave in Transformers Prime. I like that they gave his character something. And for him to pass the torch on to Primal and push them off and out of there and be a hero that at least delayed what was happening gives me good feels. Big M says Ape Link was a wrecker, I believe. Yes. Later on, he gets assigned to reestablish the wreckers. I don't know much about that. I just know of that.
Cool. All right, so I'm gonna let the panel decide who wants to go. Who wants to talk about Big Stan? What do you want to say? I know we're kind of at that part, but I want to kind of let you speak on what you want to do with what you want to say about the movie.
Overall, man, I thought it was good. I don't think that it was a wasted trip to the theater. I was just glad that Stephen Caple Jr. was able to revive the franchise, you know, as far as the live action format goes. Travis Knight didn't do a bad job with Bumblebee quite naturally, but I think Stephen Caple Jr. actually put a little more energon into the situation, if I can get away with using that terminology to make my point. I think that he just really took things to another level. He can either come back and do a sequel, or others can come back and do sequels off of this, and that will keep us Transformers fans highly intrigued and interested, you know, and keep us motivated as far as coming. I don't know what points I'm supposed to hit on right now, but there was a lot of things that he incorporated that helped to make everything make sense, you know. And Pac, you know, we discussed this the other day. The thing about the Transformers franchise, especially when it comes to the live action movies, we get a lot of mix and match. You know, just like Ramrod and Briag was talking about Ape Link and everything. You know, he was an obscure character, but then you were able to bring him in and give him more of a major role, so to speak. And it was things like that, you know, that he did well, amongst other things. You know, but I don't want to hit on too much right now. I figure we probably go back into that a little later. But yeah, overall, man, I thought it was solid.
Marco, since how you're back, let me go ahead and shout out. We got Deathcast. I think let me wait till it comes back up. We got Deathcast Collectibles. Anyone know why Transformers Age of Extinction is never streaming on Netflix? Anybody got a quick answer for that? I do not know, sir.
Maybe something to do politically with Mark Wahlberg's in that one.
Your mic
It's
was
on
real
Prime.
loud.
If you have Amazon Prime, it's on there for free.
Where
Yeah,
Prime?
I don't know if it's an issue with Paramount or whatever. Whoever owns Transformers streaming. I don't at this juncture. I don't know where the Transformers where you can actually watch those movies on demand right now. But I'm thinking maybe it's one of those issues where they're exclusive to streaming platform.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. It's kind of like how Spider-Man. None of the Spider-Mans were on Disney Plus because they were owned by Sony. So I'm sure it has something to do with that. Go ahead, Marcos.
Is my mic better?
Yeah, it was just like it came in like that fucking movie did. Pow! Jay Hollis says, I was impressed that he even put Ape Link in the movie. A lot of fans don't know about that character. That's right. So right off the rip, the guy is there definitely putting some love and doing their research on this fucking franchise. So big shout out to there. Marcos, you got any notes? We already did our intro, and did you rate this intro as opposed to any other ones?
I didn't even think of that concept. I heard all your guys. I heard most of your guys' I didn't hear Briax, but until Big Stan said the Bumblebee one, I love that. That's right. And then with Blackout in the first one has been by far my favorite. So I gotta give. I can't. Those are I can't separate the three. They're equal to me. So those are the top. But I can't say that all the. I don't know. I've never even thought of that. They're all great intros, But if there has to be a top three, gee whiz, man, that's hard.
Yeah, a lot of people chose Bumblebee as one. I chose this as number one. So the ones in contention will be Bumblebee, Rise of the Beast, and Dark of the Moon as the best intros with live action movies.
Cool.
So let's see. Before we get going, I think this is going to segue into us before we hit some of Marcos's notes. We got a lot to get. You guys, anytime you think of something to say, you guys just say it as we're. Go ahead, Big Stan.
I just want to make sure I take this time to shout out everybody that's hanging, swinging, and banging with us tonight in the chats. I've noticed I've got a lot of Big Stan shout outs, so I just want to make sure that I just shout everybody out in one shot. I don't want to leave anybody out, so just know that I've noticed your comments. I really appreciate the love, and I just wanted to make sure I get that out there real quick.
Yeah. Oh man, we appreciate you. Appreciate everybody joining tonight. But Moto Viper 21, who is a part of our cast as well, says like the deeper Prime character and love the Mirage character in this one. So that's going to segue into a topic that we're going to go ahead and have Ramrod lead off, and then you guys just go in. You guys just talk with Ramrod on this one. But the G1 likeness, all right, G1 likeness. Then we can hit up Beast Wars likeness next. But G1 likeness and what you thought. Go ahead, Ramrod.
All right. Well, since we're talking about Mirage, let's start with Mirage. Yeah, we all know that that's not his alt mode in G1. I understand that. And I'm not against, hey, take whatever alt mode you need because you're not going to have a Formula One racer on the streets normally. So did like that when he did all the different alt modes that they did pay homage there. But my concern with Mirage is primarily with his character, the way he acted. I remember in G1, Mirage was kind of depressed and he really hated being a soldier. He didn't like it at all. That did not come out here. In fact, and I'm still one. I maybe you guys heard something, but I still don't know why they just didn't call him Jazz, because he acted more like I would expect Jazz to act. So,
yeah, just lead Darren when you can, but keep going, Ramrod.
But yeah, as far as Mirage is concerned, that's my opinion. Does anybody have a different opinion on Mirage?
I have an opinion. I agree with you on use whatever alt mode you need, but I think the whole thing about it is so interesting is what's in the name, right? Because his car mode was Jazz, but his personality was Blaster to me. Like I think like because Jazz always came across in G1 as kind of the cool guy who was respected, whereas Blaster always came across as like the fun guy who they didn't respect. He was annoying. He was immature. Like they had a lot of the episodes, they set him up to always be annoying. He was too much in the human culture. He wasn't focused, right? Like I can just go in G1 like they had Blaster Blues where he was annoying everybody with the music or whatever, or like in season 3 where like Cook came to him, he taking responsibility serious and he hit the button. They play having a part in the background and stuff. So like I thought that like he looked like Jazz, but his character was Blaster. And like I don't know why they just didn't give him a different name, right? Like just call him, you know, if you want to pull it G1 heartstrings, that's fine. But like to Ramrod's point, I don't know if Mirage was the character they should have done right. Maybe even they did something like Sideswipe or somebody else or whatever, but like not somebody who's like Ramrod said was known to be a depressed, down character or whatever. Even if they made him tracks or something stupid, just something with a personality more close to what they were trying to portray, as opposed to somebody who had the complete opposite personality from what they were trying to portray with this Mirage. But that was my thoughts on Mirage. I agree with like the look thing. I just think personality he was more Blaster than Jazz.
Just a second, Marcos. Crimson Raptor says he couldn't be Jazz because of the continuity in Bayverse. I don't know if we're gonna have fucking time with this continuity thing, but continuity is up in the air. They say that it's not a reboot, but there's a lot of things that make us wonder. So they got a lot of work to do to make it all gel up. But after seeing this movie, I think they can do it. So go ahead, Marcos.
Shit,
I want to make a comment on the Bayverse and continuity while he's answering his phone. But the only connection I see is Bumblebee's alt mode and the lack of his voice. And even the lack of his voice, they changed the reason of his lack of voice in Bumblebee. Right before it was Megatron that did it. Now it was Blitzwing, I think. So yeah, they haven't convinced me that this is the same continuity. This isn't a reboot.
I agree with that. Like I think that we're saying is more of a continuity than they're saying or whatever. So.
Go ahead, Marcos.
Why hasn't Bumblebee produced a Megatron yet? And there's supposed to be a Galvatron first, not a Scourge. But then I was kind of I was thought about that last night, Crimson. And I was like, well, he could, because I was toying in my head, why wasn't, all the questions and shit. But he couldn't be Jazz because Jazz died. But then I was like, wait, Jazz was in the Bayverse fucking shit. But Bayverse was in this one as well because he was partial producer of it and shit. So he's there lingering in the background with ideas,
Jazz died in the future from this movie. That's the future. This is in the past. This is in the 90s.
Okay.
Yeah. It can get twisting. I see you, Big Stan. We were talking about this before we went and watched it because I watched it with Briag 45 and Ramrod, and we were talking about a lot of the issues. I would like to do a show and talk about just the continuity and jacking all that up. But go ahead, Big Stan.
Yeah, that's the only issue I ever had with the Transformers franchise, period. I mean, it's hard to keep up with, and I remember when I first started seeing images of what I thought was going to be Jazz, because that's Jazz's alt mode. I mean, it's stuff like that. And then you turn around, like Marcus was saying, why is Scourge the number one servant for Unicron? It's just different little stuff like that I catch, and it throws me off in a sense, like as to why they doing that. I know they're just, like I said, taking elements from whatever and meshing it together, but I don't understand the logic in it, because it'll confuse people that just really don't know.
Go ahead, Briag.
Just to follow up on Big Stan, if we're going to assume this is a reboot and not part of the Bayverse thing, regarding Unicron using Scourge, doesn't mean this is the last Herald that Unicron creates. Scourge died. Maybe later on we see Megatron, Unicron's watching this from a distance, be like, you know what? He's tough. He'd be a good one to remake. So who knows? Could be an idea.
All right.
he could just be, not very creative in names and just be naming the same, different guys the same name every time he reformats somebody.
Well, if we talk, we're going to get into Scourge. I think there's a whole topic just for Scourge, but G1 likeness. I don't know if Marcos has gone on it. I don't know if he's here right now, but go ahead with the G1 likeness, Briag.
G1 likeness on which one?
Just overall, it's overall idea. Do you think the G1 likeness was okay? Were you good with it? Were you good with a little bit of tweaks and changes? What did you think?
On the whole movie or
Yeah,
Mirage?
the whole idea. Yeah, the whole idea on the G1 characters.
I was pretty good with all of it. Regards to Mirage, I almost felt like the character was actually written for Pete Davidson because he voiced him. And maybe they could have used a yellow Lamborghini and called him Sunstreaker because we've seen Sideswipe in the Bay movies and other things. But the attitude made me think of Sunstreaker. As for all the other characters, I do like that Prime is being made to be a not a very experienced leader. Maybe he's a good commander on the battlefield, as kind of what they hinted at. I like where they're going with that. I like that he doesn't trust humans, and I like that they kept the robot cast slim enough that we have a lot of opportunity for future characters. Dare, you raised your hand?
Yeah, I just wanted to echo what you said. 'Cause I know that, like, I love what he did with Prime. Like, we always see Prime as kind of the guy who always has everything figured out. He's always kind of that gentle dad. And this kind, he wasn't that Prime. Like, he was like, I'm about me and mine. You go be about you and yours or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's just a refreshing take on him not having all the answers, not being the Captain America transformer, like always doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Like, he had a lot of faults. And it was good to see those faults. And it wasn't like self-doubt. He stood on his convictions. Basically, I'm all about me and my Autobots, everything else or whatever. So I like that refreshing take on Prime, me personally. So.
Crimson Raptors has a good comment regarding the G1 likeness, and I completely agree. Man, I got a whole topic with. I know, Big Stan, we got a time limit. Make sure I don't miss you because my phone is busy right now. Just make sure you let me know when it's time for the big homie to check out. But we're gonna talk some Transformers tonight. Dude, who is with me? That robot face on Mirage was the most expressive we gotten in live action. Very G1 cartoon to screen. You are absolutely correct, sir. When I saw the robot form and the head, I had no fucking problem at all that he was a Porsche. I was like, erased. It's all gone. It was good enough for me. And I got different opinions. I'm like, cool. And I'm with Briag. I thought his attitude was more Sunstreaker. Sunstreaker was very vain. My finish, look at me, I'm fast, I'm the fucking shit. I thought for me that they were both very similar. Go ahead, Marcos. We're talking about G1 likeness and what you thought about it.
From the first Transformers movie that came out, I've immediately separated that from G1. It had no correlation anymore. Once it was something else, I had to fall in love with that, and I did. G1's still badass, of course, but the filter's gone. And so with this movie with G1 likeness, there was nothing at all was G1 likeness except for Optimus Prime's transformation where his arms came out like that and shit and folded into his side. And he's a fucking a Freightliner. I always thought he was a Freightliner too, but apparently other people put him as other things. Bumblebee put him as something else. But as far as the G1 thing is concerned, Scourge, that's not a fucking space boat. It's dropped. So there's no correlation with me. And so it didn't bother me at all.
That's all. Big Stan's going to chime in because I saw you raise your hand. But what Marco said, separating the two. And I think the better off you can separate everything, the better off you are. You know what I mean? Look at something for what it is, as opposed to what things used to be. Go ahead, Big Stan.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Regardless to, us G1 guys, automatically looking for as much likeness, from the original characters and everything that these characters derive from. I think they did a good job of making us accept what is right now. I think we were able to be okay with how everything was put together in this movie, and not have as many gripes, about the things that we didn't feel like matched up to the original format or whatever. I think the movie was done well enough to where we could accept it and move on.
Right. Jay Hollis says, I don't need live action movies to be replicas of G1. That's exactly what we're talking right now. How we separate the two. And I do that. When I go to watch something, I completely erase the slate. Now, the Transformers live action movies have a track record. And there's things I was taught in life as a man. You have your word and you have your fucking track record. Okay. Transformers made their own track record. Came in fire. 07 was pretty good with the first few flicks, right? But they made their track record and started falling off. So therefore, that's where Make Transformers Great comes in again. Make it great. And I think they did a great job. You're integrating two different, and I hate that. I hate that people separate each other. I'm a G1er. I'm a Beast Oner. I fucking hate that. I don't like that. I like everything as a whole big universe, right? And I think this is something that needs to be where, cool, man. This movie was badass. I've never had a Beast Wars figure before. I fucking want one now. That's what the shit needs to do. Infuse new life into all fandoms. And I think it'll do a good job. But I'm gonna go ahead and hit off Briag 45. You see Pop the Trunk Toys comment, if you want to comment on that, and then we're gonna start talking about Beast Wars likeness. And take it off of both those, Briag.
That was one of the first things I noticed, Pop the Trunk, is that anytime you saw Unicron for extended seconds, or even when he spoke, the score from the '86 movie that was written by Vince DiCola was playing in the background, and you could hear it underscoring the sound effects, and it meshed up really well. Ramrod, did you raise your hand?
Oh yeah, I wanted to go back to the G1, likeness for a particular character, and I wanted to comment on Marcus's comments on the original Bayverse. Yeah, I agree with Marcos. When Bayverse came out, it was its own thing, and I enjoyed it. I loved it. But I also think that the fourth and fifth movies, people were kind of getting worn out and didn't know where they were going. Didn't really like it as much. And I know some people were, hey, give me some more G1 stuff, G1 likeness or something. And I think that with Bumblebee, especially with the flashback to Cybertron, that scratched that itch for a lot of people, because they were really G1 accurate with that flashback. And one of the characters I want to point out is Wheeljack. In that flashback, Wheeljack was his bot mode was G1 accurate. You got the little side, flashy ears, got the white and green paint job. When it comes to this new movie, I'm not as concerned with his alt mode. I understand if he needs to, disguise himself as a VW van or something like that. That's fine. Like we discussed before, I would appreciate it if they would have, had, maintained or had a hint of the original colors. But I really would have liked it better if they had not exactly, didn't have to be exact, but closer to his facial, the traditional facial, structure of the original Wheeljack, like we've seen in the flashback to Cybertron.
Go ahead, Dare.
Yeah, Kai, I always wonder with these things, why do they have to fall back on G1 names, right? Like you could have called him Wheelbase and it wouldn't have hurt anything, right? Like it wasn't anything specific to like him needing to be named Wheeljack. You know what I'm saying? So like to me or whatever, like kind of the Ramrod's point, like if you're going to go that far away from kind of, and don't give him, if nothing else, he can be a van, but give him like the red and green stripe on the van or something like that. It's just something to call it out, right? Like if you're going to go that far away, you might as well just name him something else or whatever. Cause like his name didn't serve any real purpose in the movie to me or whatever. But
the character, right? Go ahead, Marcus. The character was good. I enjoyed his personality, but yeah, they could have gone another way with him. Go ahead, Marcos.
Oh shit!
It's coming. It's
I know,
coming.
it's right there. It's right there.
High as if.
Oh, fucking! You know what's trained? You know what's trained us or trained me is all these fucking universe movies and shit, where everything's got a fucking universe, and there's an expansion of the multiverse and shit. So you watch enough of those movies. For me, I feel like okay, that's Wheeljack, and it just goes click to here. Like okay, that's that universe. That's fine. That's fine as long as everything kind of meshed in and was done well. I was like, and I hate to not be a G1er as much as somebody should be from my generation because gosh dang,
No.
I got all of them.
I don't think just because we grew up there, Marcos. I see a big stand. I don't think we have to be slavish to G1. We don't have to hardcore have everything G1, and that's where like me and you and everybody on this panel comes in. We like it all.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the moniker that we have to be, we're all G1. No, we're not. I love Transformers Universe, all the stories and shit. Go ahead, Big Stan.
You know, I just think that's where the what was it called? The transfer key or
Transport
Or
drive.
the transport.
transport key. That's where that comes in. That was a great element for them to include into the movie, into the story and everything, because that does help to incorporate multi-universal aspects of it. You know, you can actually take that element right there, and then boom, there's your Transformers multiverse, somewhat explained.
Right.
You know,
And they borrowed that from kind of IDW. Was it More Than Meets the Eye? Or was it the Unicron saga, where they basically called it the Warren, where like they could just go through space and time at any given point in time. I forget
Right.
which one of those.
IDW.
Yeah, it was IDW.
They
I
called
forget
it they called it the Warren.
Yeah, they called it the Warren. It was like the same concept or whatever. Like you can go anywhere
Right.
anytime or whatever. So, but like they borrowed from a lot of different iterations of Transformers, and so like kind of to everybody saying like I don't have to necessarily be slave with G1, but if you're going to use a G1 name, either make it personality wise or something, some part of it, like Ramrod said, they at least gave a call out to Mirage when he went through those different vehicle codes. Like at least give a call out or something to the original character if you're going to use that name or something about him. So
Go ahead, Big Stan. We see you down there in the lower left family square corner.
yeah, that's just, you know, that's my thing is to try to keep everything as relatable to the original as possible. Of course, it can evolve and it can change, but you want to keep the base of it, you know, is close to the original, because that, like I said, that way nobody gets lost or confused, and you don't really have a lot of discrepancies, you know, within the fandom, you know, because everything is kind of like lining up enough. It doesn't, like I said, it doesn't have to be in a straight line, but it just needs to line up good enough, you know.
Right.
I just
Did you
think
ever-
that helps the value of it all together.
Did you have your hand raised, Brad?
Nope, just
Okay.
straight
Mark-
on the mustache.
All right, Marcos is next, then Ramrod.
Hey, real quick, some mechanic trivia for anybody that does the mechanical in these plots. When Mirage saw Wheeljack fucking coming along, banging and shit. Remember what Mirage said? He said, "I wish Wheeljack should get that power steering."
The power steering, yeah.
On a VW that age, there was no power steering.
That's an old V-Dub bus. That's 60s.
Yeah.
Yeah. Marcos knows his V-Dubs. Don't be sleeping on it. And don't trip on it either. You can think about it, but don't do it.
Wait. Hey, but somebody might fact check me because they could say, no, that was the year they came out with that. Like, I stopped at like 71 was like too new. It had to be 69, 70, maybe, and below and shit.
Yeah,
So
Jay
I'm not-
Holly, you know how we do it here. We love all Transformers. You're not getting that when you come here, bro. We're good. We're good with the hardcore slavish G1. And I'm sorry if that term is bad nowadays, but I'm using it as just being kind of always seeking it out. But before we hit on some of Marcos's notes, if you guys have anything you want to go on, did Ramrod, did you have your hand up too?
Yeah, I just want to make a comment about another character. that I really liked. I hope to see more of is RC. I'm not married to G1, but I really appreciated the combination of G1 and Prime RC.
Can we infuse a couple franchises here? If you fucking love this RC, this is the way. That RC was badass. I'm waiting for 3-0 to do a good RC of that shit.
Yeah, I want more RC.
She was good. I thought
So-
much. Go ahead.
Ramrod, you kind of like have the likings of this RC over the one in Bumblebee's intro where she's a little bit beefy, stockier. Because I swear, I love that in her face. And then this one that threw me off for this one was just. I'll buy, but it was the motorcycle. Oh, you know what it was? I saw the fucking. Did I see the toy in Walmart? The toy's out, right?
I saw it
I haven't
online.
seen the toy.
No. I'd like to see that.
Bro, I can't. Marcos, everybody's got their personal preference. I can't see how you like the first one better than the last one. That RC in this movie, she had the feminine features. She had the feminine facial features. She was great, bro.
She was great.
And you know what? She wasn't fucking pink, not hardcore pink. Or when I saw her, I didn't think, ooh, G1. You know, she could have been blue. The only thing that could have made it better, and I still think the voice actor was great. I think the model for the bot was awesome, is if she had the RC Prime voice. I can't remember the woman who voices her. Whoa.
Maybe it was voice acting that threw it off for me. I want to say
It was still
maybe
good voice acting, man. I thought they took her from the Bumblebee and just made her even better, man.
See, as far as looks, they look really similar, and to me, that could be explained away with choosing a different alt mode and just reconfigured her body to accommodate a different alt mode. So, but like our coloring and everything looked really similar. So,
are we clear? We're gonna go ahead and move on. Does anybody else need to go? This has to be touched on. We got so many points. I don't think we're gonna get them all. Before we do some of Marcos's notes, this is very important. And I think this is so much more important than G1 likeness. Briag's going to head this up. Now we're going to talk about Beast Wars likeness. How good was it? Did they do it right? Were you happy with it? Go ahead, Briag.
100% happy with it. All the characters felt like they should be. Optimus Primal, they talked about how he took his namesake from Optimus Prime in the future. So they introduced a time travel element that we have yet to really see or talk about. I loved Air Razor. Michelle Yeoh did her voice. Michelle Yeoh did the Everything Everywhere All at Once and Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Rhinox, I said, was David Sobolov, and we didn't get to hear but 2 or 3 lines from Rhinox or Cheetor. I really, really wish I could have heard a little more speaking from them. Something that I really liked about the Beast Wars was that every one of them, except Air Razor using her projectile breath, all of them used melee weapons, which was a more primitive bestial type fighting combat compared to the robots using a lot of guns and lasers. So I liked how maybe that was done on purpose, maybe it wasn't, but it felt like a distinction to me. I loved watching them transform. I loved how they moved. I felt like they were animated as animals really well. And when you look at some of the hieroglyphs that they were portrayed in, you could definitely think things like, the lore of the Phoenix came from Air Razor existing on Earth. So I felt like they gave got a lot of props and good respect towards the Beast Wars characters.
Man, Marcos, what do you think?
I was just going to say, so for them it was a very big, huge coincidence that they were on an Earth-like planet in a whole nother galaxy that replicated still. There's gorillas there, that kind of nature. And then all of a sudden they go to coincidentally Earth. You know what I mean? Is that a coincidence?
Historically, I don't know if that's actually a coincidence. Historically, in Beast Wars, they were descendants of Autobots and Decepticon on Cybertron, a Cybertron that was dying and getting low on energon. They all adopted smaller forms. Some of the Autobots, Decepticons became Maximals and Predacons. Some of them were just new characters that were birthed from sparks of Cybertron. The original Beast Wars story, they went back in time to help preserve the future of Cybertron. I know in IDW, the Beast Wars are a separate colony that exists on a very organic planet that is watched over by the Titan Chella. And I felt like in this movie that the planet we see them on originally may be a future planet, and they went to the past to hide the transwarp key. I don't know any facts on that. That's just what it feels like since they talked about time travel.
Yeah, I wish they would have explained that a little bit more in the movie, because I think you're onto something there. Like that's what they intended.
Just real quick on the last note, yeah, the feathers on Airazor looked really good. They bristled in the wind and shit when it showed her fucking chest plate. I kind of thought it was a mistake slightly, but I don't know what their hair is made of. But when Optimal, he was he got burned by fucking Airazor when he's fucking taking it, but none of his fucking hairs were singed. So they must be made of what his metal is made of, but they can still move like hair and shit, you know. Cheetor, I didn't see too much hair on Cheetor, and Rhinox did really good. I like when he was like yelling and you see the internal motor in his mouth and a little fucking shit, dude. I mean, it's just their power that they have and shit, right? And if they had more Energon available, they might. Well, they do, but they just can't. Do they chump on fucking shit over there and eat the Energon, or what are they doing to? What are they on the first planet? What are they surviving on? They're not eating. They're not waste. They don't shit and shit.
Most planets are rich in energon if you have natural resources.
So the original Beast Wars, and not saying it connects anything to the movie and how it's done here, they adopted organic skin to cover them from the extreme energon levels on prehistoric Earth that was very unstable. But yes, they could eat energon. They could also eat all kinds of organic material for energon. I don't know much about the rest of it, but maybe that's how it is now. Maybe not.
Like Unicron, he'll eat everything organic on that planet, and he's not probably just all the energon too, but even Scourge touched base on that. He was like, "Your planet's beautiful." And he said something about a consumption for the big guy and shit. Right?
He's eating all the stuff that has energon on it, the natural resources and shit and everything else out. Where's that?
Hey,
they show Unicron taking a big old shit, bro.
Covered in juice. Yeah, but douche. Hey, then bad days goes to the taco truck, man. He good for Unicron.
Yeah, we see you, Bull. We know, we got heavy spoilers in this because we're talking about the movie. We see you. What's up, Bull 80? Thanks for stopping, at least popping in, man. Beast Wars likeness, I think Big Stan's off right now. Dare, what do you think about Beast Wars likeness?
So physically, I liked how they look. I think that this is where one of my problems with the movie come in. I think that it just wasn't enough of everybody besides Primal and Airazor. Like, did Airazor even change into her bot mode? So, like, to me, that was a big kind of miss for the movie. She was probably the breakout character, if you would say that or whatever. Like, for me, she probably was the breakout character of the movie. I would have liked to at least seen her in her alt mode one time or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I would have liked to seen Rhinox and Cheetor more. Like, they look like they're supposed to look. They look fantastic, but like, it's hard to really like. I'm a G1 person, and like I know who they are. I've seen Beast Wars, but like it was hard to kind of gravitate toward them like you could Primal and Airazor, because like they really didn't define their personalities in them or really show that much of them to even fall in love with. They look like you could be like, oh yeah, they look the way. Especially in Beast mode, you got a lot of them been in robot mode who was just doing fighting or whatever. So that was one of my problems with the movie. But the look wise, I was fine with it, and I also was fine with they were portrayed to be stronger than being Autobots. Like even the bad guy said it. Like, hey, here come the Maximus. We'll get a real fight now. You know what I'm saying? So like that part I like. I just wish it was more of it. So
They got a little bit of fucking surprise, didn't they, Darren? And Autobots were a lot fucking tougher, and he underestimated them.
yeah.
Ramrod, go ahead. What you thought with the beasts?
Yeah, just like what y'all been saying. I like the the accuracy, and they looked really good on screen. The characters, I wish I would have seen more of them, not just the two. And I really hope that Airazor somehow comes back, because I know that what was the other character, Briag, that she has a relationship with?
In the original, she has a bit of a love interest with Tigatron, and whenever they die, the Vok bring them back as Tigerhawk, a very powerful being.
So I wouldn't mind seeing, some homage to that. But if she's gone for good, I could live with that.
Okay, Crimson Raptor says, just noticed your hat, Ramrod. Badass. I'm a Godzilla fan too.
Awesome.
Go ahead, Big Stan. What the beasts, man? The beast, man.
Man,
Hey, we
I
talking
was
Big
impressed.
Stan. Big Stan, the big super destroyer. What'd you think, bro?
I was impressed by the Beast Wars likenesses and everything. I think that was one of the highlights of the entire film for me, was the way that the Beast Wars characters, were developed and presented on screen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I had no complaints about the Beast Wars characters whatsoever, as crazy as that might sound. I mean, but then again, it's kind of hard to mess those up. If you be honest about it, I mean, if you mess up the Beast Wars characters, man, it's just you just all the way wrong. You just not the right person to try to take the wheel on a film like this. You know what I'm saying? Because but again, you could have messed it up, but thankfully they didn't. I was again highly impressed by the way the Beast Wars characters were represented on this particular film.
Right.
Great introduction for him as well.
Go ahead, Marcos. Go ahead with some of your notes, man.
Oh no, my notes are for me. I could totally. But we're on par with my notes, like what we're talking about and shit.
Okay.
I just gave every individual character I wrote them down, and then I wrote something about them. But yeah, we've already been talking about it. All the way down to my last one I was talking about. Yeah, Airazor is sick as fuck, dude. The way her mouth separates to talk, like it goes back into form. It opens up so she can fucking talk. That's fucking dope, dude.
A lot of the front part of their faces, Marcos, were very like fucking intricate and mechanical. I was like, that's fucking awesome.
You know what I thought was fucking awesome? When she got shot by fucking Scourge, and it fucking took a day for her to wake up and be like, fucking tripping, her eyeball was changing color from orange to green. The way that she fucking, I'm telling you, I don't know the spoiler if you're gonna bring this up, but yeah, man, fucking Airazor was my favorite.
Do it, bring it.
She was my favorite character in this fucking film, dude. When she flew, it was dope. And then when she was pissed and her fucking feathers turned to razors and shit or whatever, and fucking she was just all school. I wish that she would have gotten Elena and brought her up to the top and ate her fucking pop, fucking tore her in half, took her to the babies and gurgled it in their mouth and shit. That's how realistic they made her look, dude. They did really good with her. To a cockfight, dude. Oh, that girl's fucking taking some cocks down, man. Jeez, it's dope. Are they getting to fight? Oh, that's great. Poor Airazor, she got hugged to death. Sucks. Sucks, man. I really wanted her to come back from some maybe energon blast that happened, and it eradicated the fucking virus and shit.
It's a great thing about science fiction. If you're smart enough, you can write anything in it.
Yeah, I liked her a lot. She was great.
Yeah, well, I gotta. I didn't take a piss, but we're gonna dare. So this whole movie, except for the beginning, this movie takes place in the '90s, and anybody who lived. So, I basically went through all high school in the '90s. So I was a young adult in the later '90s, right? So '90s is a very cool fucking time in the world and the time to be living. And we're going to talk about that they do a good job portraying the '90s. And so, if you want to take that up there and the '90s soundtrack, if you could go ahead and take that up, see what you thought about that. I'll be right back.
Oh yeah, man. I was going to talk about it. Like I found myself, especially in the first act, I was just rapping, sitting there rapping and singing most of the songs because most of those are iconic hip hop songs from the '90s or whatever, like Diggable Planets. I'm cool like that, you know what I'm saying? LL Cool J, that brought in 1990 to me. I remember when that came out, when Mama Said Knock You Out. I remember like that was the big song. You know, they had Wu-Tang Clan. I remember buying 36 Chambers in '93. You know what I'm saying? So like it just cash rule everything around me. Like that was such an iconic video. So like, yeah, it gave me the feels for the '90s. I think that they did a really good job. It was just one song that stuck out that came out in like '97. It was big that Sicker Than Your Average, because that was like right after he died, him and Tupac died. Like that was the first song they released. I was like, that was way out of time. But you know, by and large, at least musically, they captured the '90s. I think that, you know, if you take out the music part, I think the rest of it wasn't really '90s. Like it didn't look like the '90s from the clothes, from kind of the, you know, the vehicles. The Autobots did, but like if you look at the background, it wasn't like that. Like I remember in the Joker movie felt more like the '80s. Like they did a really good job of like the buildings looked a little rustier. Like it would, like they've done other films where it's been looked more like the time period they tried to. The X-Men films did that when they did like Days of Future Past and the one with Kevin Bacon where he was Sebastian Shaw. But like I think they could have did better with the surrounding stuff. But I think musically, by and large, they get a B minus. What's up, Marcos? You finna say something?
No, your screen went black for a second and I had a little scrolling thing, and I was just gonna, and I was like, oh wait, and it went back. Okay. Everybody's on my end, everybody's screen is going blink. They're all blinking. They're like Ramrod just blinked, Pat just blinked. Anyway, no, I wasn't gonna say anything other than shout out Cypress Hill. I seen the little CD standing up in fucking Noah's room when they were panning on his desk and shit. And shout out to I forget the name of the band or the group, but it's Don't Go Chasing Waterfalls. That's a cool song.
TLC.
TLC, yeah. What's your name? One Eye, Black Eye?
Left Eye.
Left Eye, yes. Sick. It brought back a lot of that stuff I didn't listen to, but a lot of it did. I knew what it was because it came on the radio and shit, 100%.
Yeah.
I didn't see one like fluorescent turquoise pink jogging suit for the '90s. Where was my wind pants at?
Exactly. It was like the Damage, the Payco, like you said, the neon, like it was no neon. And I was like, this is supposed to be the '90s. Well, the fanny packs, you know what I'm saying? Like a whole bunch of that stuff, right? Like that's what I was saying. Like the music wise, they pretty much got it right, but the surrounding part was kind of like, if they wouldn't have did the music, you wouldn't have known it was meant to be in the '90s or whatever.
So every time I watch a movie set in like another time period, especially '80s, I'm watching the surrounding, all the cars. Did you get the cars right? Okay. Did you get the hairstyles right? Because if you're vain, you notice people's faces. People look different in the '90s, and the two main characters, they were very '90s-ish. If you watch like New Jack City and all them things, he looked very '90s. I was like, perfect. She looked very '90s with the curly hair like that with the short. So if you lived that, I thought they did great. And shout out to the Jordan 6s he was wearing, bro. What's up?
Yeah, that would have been the year they came out. So
yeah, Jordan 6s, baby. And he had the Air Jordan shirt on. Oh yeah. Well, go ahead.
Got some good comments down there about Noah's flashlights being LEDs, like future Cybertronian tech. I mean, that's spot on. That's about right.
And that tied to another part of the movie too, right? Like he got some Cybertron tech. So
yep.
Optimus
he made a comment.
Optimus had LEDs on the side of his truck, and I'm like, that's wrong.
Yeah.
Crimson made a comment earlier that said the Maximals pretty much throughout the movie and not the last 10 minutes like they did the AOE Dinobots. I was very happy that this movie focused more on the robots, and there was a robot in every scene throughout the whole movie. It felt more like a Transformers movie and not this is a movie about people on Earth that are being affected by Transformers.
Well, I thought there was, yeah. So there was a lot of human interaction, but like we're talking after the movie, Bragg, if they didn't do that, you wouldn't understand how he came to. You wouldn't understand his background, his military background, which led to how he came into Mirage. He took the job with his boy, right? And if he wouldn't, they wouldn't have gone into that. You wouldn't have understood his relationship into the role with them. So I was fine with the human interaction. I see you there. We're not going to get away from human interaction because you need it to show mortality. You need it to show emotion. Why was he so desperate to find a way? Because his brother was sick, right? When you have those feels and you have a connection, we would love that to fucking be real. Who wouldn't love to fucking see a real transformer in real life, right? You need that connection with that to relate to you. So I thought it was done pretty well for my preferences. Go ahead, Dare.
Yeah, so like I think that was, as we get moved through the movie, it was like 20 minutes with no robots, and it was kind of explaining the human background. But I think that both of their backgrounds are uber relatable, like real world problems, right? Like he had a sick brother, a sick kid who they didn't have any money. I think you may not, I think that, those are human problems, right? Like she was at her job and she wasn't getting respect at her job. Human problems, right? So I think that this was the best part. At least that part was really good. How they tied it and made it feel like real human problems that, were more real life than kind of the other Transformers. I wish that they would have made the movie 15, 20 minutes longer and gave that 15, 20 minutes to give him more backstory to kind of Rhinox Cheetah, or kind of spending that. If they would have did the robots with the same lip service, I think they did a good job with the Transformers. When they all met in the warehouse and the Mirage kind of gave a rundown about Prime. He's a stick in the mud. This person is this person is that. I like that. That was cool, succinct, and it gave you kind of everything you need to know about the character to at least form your own opinion about him. I wish they would have did that with the Maximals too, because they did a great job of kind of showing how Prime and Air Razor care about each other. But I would have liked to see how Rhinox role was it, how Cheetah role, like their roles on their teams or whatever. So like I think they did humans. This is probably the best they've done humans in live Transformers movies, but I wish they would have tacked on that extra time for the bots that made it, instead of a 2 hour and 5 minute movie, maybe 2 hour and 25 minute movie, and gave that time, devoted that same time to kind of the Maximals or whatever. So that's just me.
I thought so for me, the runtime was perfect, because when we were going to get our tickets and we were talking about going to watch the movie, we we're like, oh, it's 117 minutes. I'm like, fuck, that's 2 hours. Bro, that's awesome. I'm tired of going to a movie that's 3 hours. I'm over that shit, bro. Do what you need to do. This movie proved that you could do a 2 hour fucking movie and it be fucking good. Like the last night, you fucking killed me with all the stupid extra scenes that you put in there with unnecessary people and Anthony Hopkins. And you don't hear me talking about shit like that with this movie, with the characters. This was different. This felt good. We were researching who was in charge of the movie, Briag, and you had brought up his age, and we're talking. It sounds like who was in charge of that has one of the, I think, was it the producer we're talking about, the executive producer? His age kind of reflected that maybe he's grown up with this shit.
So the director, Stephen Capel Jr., while he seems more like a newer director, he was born late 80s. I think it was 88 that he was born. So he's kind of grown up 90s, early 2000s. And so he would have grown up with the 2007 movie as a young adult and kind of maybe helped build his career on this. I know he doesn't have many movies under his belt, but he did direct Creed 2. And I personally like the Creed movies. I thought they were done well. I know that's a different topic, but yeah, he's, despite having just a few movies, I felt like he did a good job.
Yeah, this comment. Anybody's got anything else to say, we're going to move on. But Crimson Raptors makes a good point that I did notice in the movie. I'm like, hey, there's a bunch of fucking Scorponauts right there. So he said the director mentioned there was supposed to be a mention of the Scorponok army called the Sweeps in the easy-to-read book. Would be called Predacons, but will be on the Blu-ray deleted scenes. So that's the Unicron minions were done fucking well, I thought. And I saw them Scorponok. I love Scorponok in the first movie, even though he wasn't the same. Like Marco said, I checked out. When they made the new movies, I just checked out and watched it for what it was. Scorponok ejecting from fucking Blackout was fucking badass. So all those little fucking Scorponauts, I was like, that's fucking awesome. But I guess I digress. Marcos, we're going to go ahead. Marcos and Big Stan, we're going to talk about Scourge. It's time to talk about Scourge, the main protagonist in the movie. And we'll start off with Marcos. What do you think about Scourge?
Scourge is, well, now that I know who his voice character is, and now that I know that he kicks some fucking ass and he has fucking Unicron's fucking Black Energon running through him, and his crew is dope. I love the fucking tow truck, and then thanks to Briag or Ramrod telling me that it was fucking Nightbird for the other counterpart with him, and fucking awesome Scourge himself, dude. I want a 3-0. I'm gonna look at the masterpiece, but I don't want the Studio Series 1 or anything like that. They're okay, and I already seen them. They're in the first wave and shit, but it's just not the Scourge that I'm gonna put some money down on some Scourge, dude, because I will. That thing's fucking sick, and his mask comes off like Tarn. I thought that was a fucking great. And when he did take his mask or got his mask kicked off him, he had like chain links and shit running through his fucking face, dude. The guy's fucking. And when he transforms, he's that fucking truck, dude. It's like a tow truck from Jeepers Creepers would drive that motherfucker, right? It's all fucking decked, dude. I love that whole entire look. Right when he first transformed, I thought it was the fuel tanker that Megatron was, because he had those things in the front too, the cow scoops, but. No, that's Mad Max all the way, dude. All three of those vehicles were Mad Max, dude. But if we don't touch base on the tow truck and Nightbird, I'm gonna tell you what, man, that tow truck for him to fucking throw fucking chain and grab something, squeeze, and fucking he was throwing cars at RC, dude, knocked her fucking back. My only wish was that they also had the Black Energon running through them. They were just kind of like his helpers and shit, right?
I thought they did.
I thought they did. I thought they said that him and all of them did. Like, cause they served him, they all did.
After we made, I'd like to. I'm gonna keep an eye out for that, because it just didn't see. Okay, maybe then. Anyways, yeah. So that's beautiful if they do. But then they got taken down. Well, she blew up. She got her fucking panel ripped off and stuck in her fucking heart. And when LL Cool J said, "Don't make it a comeback" and shit, she blew up into pieces. And then dude got his fuck. It took Prime and fucking Primal to fucking get the yellow tow truck, dude. That was a nice fight.
Fuck that guy, dude. Fuck
That
him.
guy
He
was
went down,
dope,
bro.
dude. That dude was dope. That dude was dope.
Big M said it best. I wish they wouldn't have killed off Scourge and his crew in the movie. I agree with that. Like, Scourge and his crew were kicking ass and taking names. Sorry about my French right there. Like, they weren't playing the radio with them. You know what I'm saying? So like,
Man, you ain't got
I wish they would
excuse.
have found a way to keep them around too.
And that dude's Gatling. Fucking real world fucking Gatling and shit, right?
Like you said, but the tow truck he was using them chains like a pro. Like, he was taking them out left and right. You know what I'm saying? But,
Dope. BJD, can we please?
Yeah. So before we get to Big Stan, so Scourge, we all know Scourge appeared in the 86 movie. He was a Unicron minion, right? He was reformatted from one of the Insecticons. We're not going to get into big. Wait, he was reformatted from Skywarp or one of the Insecticons.
Thundercracker or in
Skywarp.
Okay.
Or I'm sorry, no, it was Thundercracker. Bombshell became Cyclonus, and then Cyclonus's armada was Skywarp.
So what's dope is they bring Scourge, right? He's a Unicron minion, correct? Just like the original one. He doesn't look like him. Scourge first appeared in the Robots in Disguise 2000 series, where they first reintroduced Carbots again, because they went through the phase where it was Beast Wars, right? So they reintroduced bots with Beast Wars again, just like they did here. Scourge debuts when they mixed the two together. Scourge debuts when they mixed the two in the live-action movies. Scourge was a black-looking Optimus. He wasn't Nemesis, and he was a semi-truck. You see the similarities and where the guy took from? I'm like, dude, fucking great. That's what we need. You didn't make him the same exact shit, but you took all the elements and you made it mix right there. So that's the kind of shit we need more of right there. But go ahead, Big Stan, your idea. What's up, Prophet, and your idea on Scourge?
Yeah, I really enjoyed the character overall. I mean, and thank you for breaking it down, like where it actually originated from, as far as the 2000s continuity or whatever material that they introduced that in originally. I think that it was a refreshing take on it, you know, I wasn't against it after seeing him being, you know, as dominant as he was and everything. I just, like I said, I wasn't for sure what the angle was going into it. And once I got an understanding, okay, this is the direction that they're going in for this particular movie. So again, the way that the character was presented, I was okay with it because it wasn't, you know, it was solid in my opinion. You know, I was getting I hate to say Darth Vader type vibes, but he was super bad. You know, like he was the bad guy to beat, you know, and he was boss level, so I could appreciate it.
Scourge says, I love it when I see the confusion in an inferior fucking species or whatever. That's sick. Fuck you, Prime.
Pack, you're muted.
Sorry about that. Go ahead. Briag was first.
I just wanted to comment real quick on Prophet made the comment, so everyone's fine with someone getting turned down from one job and resorting to Grand Theft Auto. So it's either perfect job or choice of crime. I may be reading too much into how they did the story, but from what I understand, they'd gone 3 months of not paying their hospital bill. He was ejected from the Army. He had been looking for a job. He thought this was going to be the job that was going to help pay bills. And when that fell through, he needed money fast because the hospital turned his brother away in the movie for his medical treatment. So he needed money right now. And I think maybe that's why he went into this questionable job with the other dude. So maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I think that's where they were going with that.
I'll tell you what, if somebody in my family needed something and I had to do whatever the fuck I had to do, I'm going to put it online and do whatever the fuck I have to do. And that's the position he was in.
I would steal from anybody to fucking help. I would try and find something. I would find some magic beans or some shit, but I wouldn't steal from anybody. I say I fucked around and shit. It was never really like, it was always with like my friends and shit. You know, we always
people. Yeah, but to think people won't make mistakes to fucking help. To think that people won't make mistakes when they're desperate is ridiculous. That's when you make mistakes.
Yeah. So, no. Not to get all serious, but right. But yeah, it's the '90s, Prophet. Come on, man.
Prophet, get with the show. Come on, man. Damn, Prophet.
Oh, it's the '90s, bro.
Wait,
yeah, very few people are like those type of criminals just for the fun of it. Most of them are just like, you know, most people are just kind of down to their last choice, like Briag saying, like it's just a lot of options.
Fuck them for breaking my car window out and taking a shit, fucker.
Go I've been on both ends of that, so I understand. But I had a question,
lights, man.
I had a question. Was anybody mad, or the parallels between him and Lockdown? Was everybody cool with that, or did it bother anybody, or what?
I'm so sorry, but I thought for sure Lockdown was in that movie somehow. I got that vibe, dude. Was it? Did Peter do Lockdown's voice?
No.
Okay.
I didn't even, Lockdown didn't even enter my mind with Scourge. Not with any of that shit. Like, no, it didn't even enter my mind.
They just moved similar to me. Like how they acted, whatever. They just moved kind of similar, even though their motivations were to a degree. Because Lockdown seemed to be working for a bigger power too, even though they never talked about it in Age of Extinction. But they just seemed to move kind of similar to me, and they both were strong, basically being primed them across the planet or whatever. So they
did you find out who voiced him, Briag? I think he's looking it up right now.
I'm looking to see who voiced Lockdown.
Okay. We will wait for that tidbit of information. But real quick, while he's looking that up, like we're talking about 90s and the music, thank you for not putting fucking grunge in here. You know what I mean? That would have been the wrong fucking choice. Go ahead, Briag.
Mark Ryan.
Oh,
Mark Ryan. That sounds familiar.
Let's see.
He's
he was in
Bumblebee's voice when he was Bumblebee's voice when Bumblebee talked, wasn't he?
He might be, which means he also did Jetfire's voice. See, he did Lockdown. He did the World War I tank in the last night. Yeah, he does Bumblebee's voice. So yeah,
Whoa.
he did Jetfire, Bumblebee, Lockdown. So he's got quite a bit under his belt.
Hey, Lockdown's fucking dope.
Well, I think Crimson is right. Like, Lockdown don't hold a fucking candle to Scourge. But Scourge was made to be badass because of Unicron's power. And shout out to them bringing another series into. This guy is taking time to know his lore. Dark Energon was first. They first really talked about that in Prime. And here we go. We got Prime again. So we got references to RID. We got references to Prime. The Transwarp Key, I'm pretty sure, was introduced and animated. Was it in Beast Wars 2, Briag?
I missed part of that.
The Transwarp Key was in the animated show. Was it in Beast Wars as well?
Not that I remember. They used the word transwarp a couple times for something, but there wasn't specifically a transwarp key. They did something that allowed them to go back in time, and it had to do with the space bridge. I don't remember exactly. That's something I'll have to look up.
Well, yeah, I'm pretty sure the Transwarp Key is an animated. But so a lot of good references done right. Big Stan, what would you like to see moving forward? Any kind of toys? Do you see something and you're like, man, I want something of that? Because like Marcos was talking about earlier, the toys on the shelf are pretty beat, right? There's not any good representations of any of these. We're older collectors, so we like our things a little more masterpiece, a little more refined, more parts, more paint, like that. Man, we need some good third-party pieces of it. So did you feel like when you watch this, you're like, man, I want some representations?
To be honest, not necessarily. It's just I was, and this is probably the first time I wasn't moved by it enough to want any action figure representation. I just went in this thing as a fan, for, well, should I say, since '84. We're approaching 40 years. Is that right? We're approaching 40 years. Just going in as a fan to support the franchise, just to kind of see how things were going to play out. But I mean, I'm not against getting anything, to put on the shelves, put on my display. I guess I would just have to see it. I would have to see what comes out and then go from there. But did the film actually, make it to where I just really wanted to go out and try to find something to represent it on my, as a part of my collection? No, not really. Not this time.
Okay, Ramrod, kind of give them real quick your collecting habits, and if you're going to want to have any of this done, and any kind of preference for you.
For me, not really. I haven't been into collecting the movie toys. Like some Masterpiece and some third party, but I just only got so much shelf space. But I would appreciate it if they did, for other people's sake, put out some quality toys. So that those people like me that want to invest in the movie toys, they have an option.
There.
Yeah, I'm pretty much a third party collector, so I have unique toys. They're pretty much everything they did from the Bayverse I have, and so I definitely gonna get a Scourge. I just hope somebody does it, gives them the thing the way you can do the tattoos or the insignias he collects. I know I'm getting a Scourge. I probably get a Mirage, and and if they do an Air Razor, I'll probably get an Air Razor and a Primer. If like they do an MP representation of those, or maybe like Marco said, maybe 3-0. Sorry,
Brad.
On the transwarp key thing, if you read Crimson, Jay Holla, and Big M's comments, yes, they had not a key. each ship had what's just technology called a transwarp drive, and it's powered by transwarp cells. And they just open a portal through space and time and go through it wherever they want. And in Beast Wars, it got damaged when they went through, and they spent basically the whole thing trying to get it repaired so they could go back home.
Okay, Marcos, the question. Do you mean repeat it?
No, I know. But anyway, that's why Unicron wanted that motherfucking thing so bad. He can eat planets where he's from. But he wants to go here. He wants to go there. He wants to conquer. So he needs that key, which is kind of interesting that he is like in the cartoon, 1986 cartoon starts out. He's just cruising through fucking space, coming across shit. Happened to come across the fucking first moon and shit. Ate that motherfucker up. But anyway, going back to the toy line, I would write Unique Toys a fucking letter, and I would want a Mirage for sure. And when he transformed, I'm going to take a 3-0 Mirage for sure. He doesn't have to transform. I'd like him in his bot mode. We've got Porsches, I like Mirage a lot, and I want him to come. Even if Hot Toys did the fucking Noah wearing Mirage, I would love to have that. I think that was really good. I wouldn't get sorry, Elena, I wouldn't get like a figure of her. She was great, but I wouldn't get like if it just wouldn't be in my interest. Bumblebee, no. Optimus Prime, maybe, but I'm going with Scourge for sure. With Hot Toy, well, I want the crew. I want Scourge. Anybody in chat know the name of the fucking tow truck? Let us know because we were kind of stumped on that.
Crimson Raptor said it.
Battle
earlier.
Trap.
What was it?
Yeah, Battle Trap.
Okay, I'm sorry if I missed that. I thought I was still on the wavelength that we didn't know. Battle Trap, Nightbird, and fucking Scourge. And Unicron, dude. If Unicron came from that movie, that'd be great. I want that motherfucker to transform in the next movie. I want to see him. Do we see Unicron transform?
Never. We got to move it slow. We're going to talk a little bit, but Big Stan's going to have to go. So, Big Stan, anything that you want to close up on? Because I know it is time for you to go.
Man, I just want to say how much of an honor and a pleasure it was for me to be here tonight amongst all these top-notch collectors and enthusiasts of everything that we enjoy and love on our spare time. Thank you, Pat, for bringing me onto the show tonight. Big up, big shout out to everybody that was on the panel. My brother Marcos, Dare 2727, Briag, Ramrod. Again, to everybody that's out there hanging, swinging, and banging with us tonight in the chats. It was good to be able to just get in here and join in and just enjoy the conversation and give my emphasis on it for whatever good it has done. Forgive me, I'm getting a little sleepy, but yeah, it was just fun overall. Just really enjoyed it. I hope I get a chance to come back again soon and be able to just rock out with you guys, here on the 3 live stream or M3's channel or somewhere.
Cool, man. Hell yeah.
One question before you go, Big Stan, a little small. Rate this movie. Okay, did you like it? If you can't, kind of rate it in the Bayverses, if possible, like your favorite Bayverse, kind of put it in there, if you would, please, before you go.
I would have to say this is probably okay. My favorite of all the live action is still Dark of the Moon. I would put this in number 2. And man, I had to say Revenge of the Fallen after that. 07, then Bumblebee, and you can put The Last Night and I had The Last Night is last. I'm sorry. Which one was before The Last Night?
Age of Extinction.
Age of Extinction. I can know. Yeah, Age of Extinction with Lockdown. That I guess that would be the order. Well, I don't know, man, because I like the Age of Extinction pretty good too.
It's hella hard, man. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's a hard ass question, Pat.
Yeah, I'm like Marcos, man. It's kind of hard to rank some of them, you know, because
Yeah.
you kind of enjoy them all right there, you know, on the same level. But yeah, the Rise of the Beast is just definitely a great way to kind of reset the course. You know what I'm saying? For everything going forward. If it's done right, like I said, man, you can either do it right, you can do it well enough, or you can screw it up altogether.
Yeah.
And I think that if you can at least do it well enough going forward, this was a good platform to kind of jumpstart everything, you know, for the future films in the franchise. So I'm just hoping that that's what happens, you know, because again, I really love the Transformers. I've been down since '84, and I do plan to just continue to support it, you know, and just hope we get some good films out of what we got with Rise of the Beast, man, because, you know, it's definitely opportunity there, you know, regardless of any missed opportunities that happens throughout these films. And it's not just this one, it's all of them. We always get a lot of missed opportunities, in my opinion, you know, when it comes to the characters and everything. So, like I said, just hopefully things will keep on going in the direction that it's going, because I did enjoy the film overall. I will say, individually, this film for me was probably about a 8.5 to a 9. You know, I want to give it a 10 out of 10 because I want to give it room to grow. But overall, yeah, man, no less than an 8.5.
Nice.
Sweet.
All right, sir. I know you got to get going, and I want to say thank you very much for stopping. And I better hear the hashtag before you go, baby.
Oh man. Well, yeah. Let me go ahead and say goodbye to everybody, and I will catch you guys on the next round. Until the next time, this is your big homie saying y'all already know what it is and y'all already know what to do. All right, everybody. Until the next one, take care of yourselves out there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, always a good time. Always a good time with Big Stan. We got some more to cover. We're going to talk about Big Stan is, but real quick, a few topics. I know me and Marcos can talk forever, but I think Bragg would probably like to go to bed sometime in the near future and me shut my fucking mouth. But anyway, what's everybody drinking tonight? I've had a vodka and Coke. Now I got a beer. What's everybody drinking here? Bud Light.
I'm having this premium Watete with lemon juice in it.
Watete. Yes.
Watete.
Hey, babe, give me some watete, please. With ice.
I'm having plain watete.
Oh shit.
Hey, shout out to Dare 2727 with that glass of water, boy. Stay hydrated. Hey, you smarter than me, man. Dare's what's smarter than me. I told you why I call you that now. Now you know every time I say Dare 2727, you know what I'm talking about.
It's all good.
Man, let's okay. So we know when they first started the Bayverse films, a lot of the visual, what you saw, was hard to track. Action scenes were very hard to track. The Transformers transforming were very messy. It was in its early stages, kind of like Beast Wars, right, Briag? It was the first of its time for its animation, its CGI, so it wasn't great. If you were to ask me, they fucking cleaned up the visuals on this movie perfectly. I don't have any complaints. Nothing is ever going to be perfect. None of us are perfect. But the transformations, the fast-paced moving scenes, the battle scenes, I didn't feel like I was getting lost. What do you think, Marcos?
Oh yeah, I didn't get lost at all. What's the name of the airplane?
Stratosphere.
Stratus. Oh, that's dope. He came in hot. I would want a fucking Stratus as well, but he better be gosh dang big. I know that Studio Series will make him a, what do they call it, a leader class or some shit, but he ain't gonna be fucking big, man. He's got. I want to put Optimus Prime from War for Cybertron in him.
Did you see him set when he was transformed? I don't know if they were on a mountainside or a hillside, and they did it well. because all the other bots look small, and he was just like sprawled out, big as fuck,
Yeah.
dude. I'm like, good job.
Yeah.
And like
yeah.
when Air Razor was flying after she got tagged by Scourge, when you see
Yeah.
her flying later, you always see where the damage was. I
Yeah.
always look for the little airs. Did they miss it? Did they put it in? Is it there? And I didn't see a lot of them. I'll have to watch it again and see if I can find some. But go ahead.
The original Beast Wars cartoon, Marky was 6, 7, 8 years old when it came out, and I tried to get him to watch it. We bought a couple of Transformers. We bought fucking Unicron, Armada Unicron, and we bought fucking or my mom gave it to me actually for Christmas, I think. Fucking Optimus Primal, where he's orange and he changes into 3 or 4 things. That and they do a Transmetal and shit. Also, all the Transmetal shit's cool. But I watched a couple of cartoons, but he and I both agreed that like the way that the CGI was kind of like when we were above that, we were like, okay, we'd rather go outside. We're going to do other things. Like we're not going to sit here and watch these. It wasn't that good to draw us in. And so I never really knew about Beast Wars other than what I just said all the way up until now, where I'm like, okay. And I bought like Megatron. I've watched a couple episodes. I like when he turns into the fucking, oh my God, dude. Pack, I want a motherfucking Megatron. And I thought for an end notation on this motherfucking movie that one of the things for a end credit scene, like after you watch everything, is just kind of like the scenery on the earth and shit. It's just in the jungle and shit, like and the water's coming down and all you just see a big fucking T-Rex purple foot go boom, and then it cuts away. Oh my God, I was like low-key praying for that. I want them to introduce a Megatron so bad.
They impressed me because I'm a huge Megatron fan. He's my favorite, right? So naturally, when I heard about this movie, I'm like, what the fuck is Megatron? Mm-hmm. Even though I understand where he's supposed to be right now. In this timeline, he is Sector 7 has built the Hoover Dam around him. That's where he's at right now if this is continuity. Okay? All this shit's going on. Megatron's the fucking man, right? He's just sitting in this fucking underneath in this bunker, whatever the fuck they call that. Well, everything's happening, bro. And he can't do a damn thing about it.
No. Oh, why haven't they done it? Why?
Yeah. Big Stan, we haven't got to the G.I. Joe part because it's going to be very elaborate. I know you had to go, so I have a lot of thoughts about that. So sorry we couldn't get to the G.I. Joe crossover with Big Stan because he said he forgot to elaborate on that. It was kind of my fault because I haven't led us to there yet because it's the very ending. But go ahead, Ramrod, you're next.
What are we talking about right now?
Visuals, tracking compared to where they started.
Yeah, I definitely think that they've improved. I mean, like we've mentioned this multiple times throughout the conversation, is that compared to the original Bayverse, on up to now, it's definitely improved. And obviously, if we're just going by that, this would be my favorite movie. But definitely like the the Beast Wars characters. They looked like what I expected. They looked really good, and the other Autobots just looked like a much cleaner transformation. One thing I want to make a comment on though is it just me, or is in Bayverse do the villains not have any color?
It's not just you.
Yeah, the good guys seem to have a lot of color. And the bad guys, the Decepticons or the Terracons or whoever you're talking about, just seem to not just be kind of gray, brown, dark color.
Yeah, they always monochromatic or whatever. But
I wish they'd add a little bit more color on the villains, just to more purple or whatever.
You can never go wrong with more purple. Go ahead, Dare. Think about the visualizations and the basically overall, how they've come so far.
I think Ramrod said in the comments earlier, like it's gotten better kind of. Each iteration has gotten a little better in one way or another. I think that this is probably, it's the peak of it, right? And so hopefully if they're able to do more, it'll get better and better and better. But like it tracks easier, a lot of stuff is better. And Ramrod said the best, it's just the improvements in technology, computers, them knowing how to do it more is better.
So I think part of it is the technology. It's obviously improved. And I think a little bit of credit where credit's due. The director makes the big difference on how the scenes are played out and how they move. I know Michael Bay is an older director. He was kind of set in his ways and how he does things, you know, race car movies, Bad Boys, stuff like that. He did rebooting the series. He did a good job getting the 07 movie, and I enjoyed Revenge of the Fallen and Dark of the Moon. I think I forget the director's name that did Bumblebee, and then this guy here that did this one, Capel. I think they're more in tune with directing technology as Michael Bay compared to Michael Bay. So I think they didn't do so much of a better job, but this is more of their element. And I'm glad Michael Bay has taken a backseat to the directing and is just doing the producing. I enjoyed this and Bumblebee for their action scenes better than I did the other movies.
I would agree with that 100%. And I wonder if Michael Bay was here to be like, wait, I didn't draw how they were going to go. Like, is that what, you know what I mean? So but maybe he was able to pick, I don't know. You think he picked out the, like, Starscream to be the upside down Dorito? Like, come on, bro.
It goes more than that, Marcos, with Bay. Okay. Thank you for doing the movies he did, right?
Yeah.
I mean, where would Transformers necessarily be without 07, etc.? Move on. Go ahead, there.
No. Can we touch on that later on down about Michael Bay and kind of his impact on all this? Because I have some thoughts I want to say about it.
I think we've sewed up what we've talked that round there. We can go ahead and fucking do it now if we want.
So, you sure? So yeah. I have a question to everybody. Everybody on the panel. Was anybody's theater packed or halfway packed?
Good point. So, Marcos?
What was it? I'm sorry.
Was your theater packed when you watched the movie, or even halfway packed?
Oh, yeah. No, definitely not a blockbuster. Thursday night when it came out, I went at a moderately decent time, 6 o'clock, and there was 20 heads in there. And I was sitting there for an hour just chilling and shit, man, enjoying sitting.
That's so... Me, Ramrod, and Briag all went and watched it, and the movie theater wasn't half full.
Well,
okay.
And
go ahead.
No, well, because then the second time I went, it was fucking 80% full.
Okay. So the whole point of why I want to keep talking about stuff and make Transformers great again is to let. So what I meant by a man and his word and his track record, Bay doesn't have a good track record. He fired it off, and then they just. The people in their mind are like, no, Transformers, it's fucked. But we got to show them, we got to tell people, hey, it's coming around. This movie is better, because that is the problem. When I first went there, I'm like, now we're on the northern side of the metro, right, where we saw the movie. So we weren't in the heart of the metro where there might be a ton of people. But I would veer to say that it probably wasn't packed everywhere. And that's why we need to let people know, hey, man, it's different. This was better. Go out, see it, support the franchise.
Nobody's gonna watch this that hasn't seen it, dude. They're gonna be like, "Fuck that! I'm staying away till I see it and shit."
Yeah, but like, so Moto Viper said it was 90% full. Crimson Raptor said theirs was like 3-4 full. I live in Atlanta, and like I went to like a 5 o'clock showing. I literally, I bought my tickets like 10 minutes pulling up, and the screen,
oh wow,
every seat in the house was open or whatever. Like it wound up being people there. Mine was like maybe 20, 30 people that went Friday at 5 o'clock. So like, you know, not no crazy time or whatever. And so my biggest concern was kind of to what Pat said, was like, has Michael Bay put his stain enough on it that no matter how good it is, we may not get to that next level of seeing those movies, because like they're going to look at the bottom line of like, hey, if it took 200 million to make this, if they don't make 205 million, then it's a problem. And, you know, then they start to question what will happen next with this franchise. So like, I was just curious because like I've talked to other people, and nobody has said, besides like the people in the chat, nobody said it's been like a pretty full theater or whatever, or close to blockbuster status. And like, I'm personally just concerned that like we're getting the good stuff now, but it may be
And
maybe too little, too late. I don't know. I hope not, because like
I've thought that exact thing. Go ahead, exact thing. Is it too late? Because it's no shade on somebody, but if you have a track record, you did that, all right? And a lot of people just have this in their head, like, Transformers is not very good anymore. That's why we keep saying, make Transformers great again. Tell people this movie is better. Talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Let people know that, like Jay Holiday said, it's the same, but it's different. And it's a good phrase. It's the same, but it's different. When I watched this, and we did a show, me and Briag, and I don't remember who else was on there. I think Dare, you were on there. We're talking about when it was coming up. My expectations was low for it. If Marcos wouldn't have told me I'm going to see it again, so naturally I knew he liked it. But in my mind, it's like, man, I didn't think they would pull it off. So I'm glad I was wrong. And there's going to be tons more people to feel that way.
that's good. Jay Holland, Crimson Raptor said like it's doing better, but like just from talking to the Transformers fans, I know nobody was like, hey, it's sold out or it was even crowded. So I had a bigger concern, but based on what they're saying, is actually maybe doing better than I think. And I don't know everything, but like
That'll be good.
I'm glad it is doing better because I want to get to kind of these future stories or whatever. Sorry, Briad. My bad. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. I just wanted to comment a little bit of a different demographic. I play a game on my phone called Transformers Earth Wars, and there's a server I'm on, a Discord server, tons of people that play the game, and they were all talking about it, and the sentiment was overall very enjoyable. Tons of people saw it. None of them talked about spoilers or any of the details. They're like, yeah, good movie, worth going to go see. For what it's worth, I don't know the ages of these people, any of their demographics.
Do we know the Rotten Tomatoes score? I wanted to look it up today, but man, I just didn't get to it. Does anybody know that score?
No, I haven't even seen any.
Huh?
Honestly, I care about what people think, but I'm in my own fucking world. I don't give a fuck what anybody fucking says about if they talk shit on it. All of us generally love it, right? But as far as like any of us talk shit on it, they're just immediately just like out of my head. I don't even fucking care.
Well, it matters for us for the franchise to continue. Yeah, we like what we like, regardless of what a thing says. But a lot of people don't have that own thinking, Marcos. They just see a Rotten Tomatoes score and like, I'm out. So it matters to the success of the franchise. But I'm like you. I'm going to watch whatever the fuck I want. I don't care what your score is. But go ahead, Brad.
Say Rotten Tomatoes for what it's worth. 158 professional critics review, 52%. So not good with them. 2,500 plus verified ratings of audience score, 92%. So the average Joe loved it way more than critics.
Cool.
So
for what that's worth.
Makes me think, did the critics... Okay, so come on. This is World War. You think, critics did watch it, or were they just like, I don't really want to fuck with this, and I'm just going to fucking give it a bad score because it's Transformers that are beaten to the ground. You don't know, man.
That's the point. I don't look at what other people fucking say. It's like it's null and void.
It's good that the people are saying, yes, it's good. You critics don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah, right. I'm glad they do the vice versa and shit.
Yeah. Hey, critics, suck on that, motherfuckers.
Yeah, fuck you, critics.
Yeah, like as long as they make enough money to keep these, to at least, invest back in the franchise, right? You know what I'm saying? That's kind of like my overall concern. And I'm glad it seems like it's going that way or whatever.
All right. So we're going to go ahead and finish this off. So we're going to talk about the end. If anybody has anything they want to say before we talk about the end of the movie, go ahead.
Okay, so did any of you catch when Elena was in the fucking museum with she took the bird apart and she had the warp key. She was looking shit up on the computer and it said Takara Tomy. Did you see that?
Where?
It said Mr. Takara's real name and Mr. Tomy's real name came down on the screen with some dinosaurs and hieroglyphics and shit. That was the head. It was all in black and white, no color. And I saw that. I was like, I wonder if anybody else has seen this shit.
I need to see it again.
Yes, sir. That's a nice little fucking homage. I was like really happy with that. That was pretty cool. Oh, is Noah related to Colonel Richards in Iron Man? Because they have the same color eyes.
Please keep Marvel out of fucking Transformers. God damn. Please.
Is it Colonel Richards in Iron Man, the first one? Before it was
It's Colonel Rhodes, and I don't think
Rhodes.
I don't think they're the
It
same.
looks like they could. It looks like they could be related. Good, just good looking dudes. Got the name for fucking what's the big airplane? Unicron, probably not. Oh, and then
I just want to say I agree with Jay Holla. Who cares what the critics think? They're not the ones paying the bills.
right.
It's the average Joe that pays the bills on these movies. Critics may help get butts in the seats, but the word of mouth from the average Joe is going to matter far more to us than whatever some uppity bitch in the UK says.
Yeah,
As long
make
as the dollar
Transformers
signs
great.
take over.
Make Transformers great again. Everybody like us, everybody in the chat. We're the motherfucking experts, right? They need to get on board. Go ahead, Marcos. Think you had more?
It's so sad. Not a single mention of Decepticons, except for the insignia on Scourge's shoulder, fucking front grill. And then I was going to go into Cobra or G.I. Joe and what you guys think on the end of that, if that was the thing.
Yeah, that's the ending. I'm going to go ahead and take it first on this because I am somewhat experienced on G.I. Joe versus Transformers 2000 comics. They also had them comics in the 90s. Go ahead. You can go, Brad.
Just to add to Marcos with the little tidbits of things you notice in the movie that may or may not matter about what's going on, just neat to see. One of the kids was wearing a Mighty Morphin Power Rangers t-shirt. And then when they were in Peru turning the little dials, the 12 dials, I know they're not the traditional icons that we see, but I believe it could be the 12 primes before Optimus.
Okay.
The faces that were on the symbols. I didn't get a good look at them, but they did actually mention Primus. Scourge actually said Primus, so maybe they'll bring in the 13 primes.
Well, yeah, we were talking about that, you, me, and Ramrod. I remember with the new Aligned Continuity around the time that Transformers Prime cartoon came out, and everything was supposed to have the same continuity, right? And that was 13 primes, Unicron and Primus. So it would be great if they could bring that in again because it was a great concept, and shit just went away from that. So that would be great. So Marcos is gone, but I'm going to give my take on this because I feel, and this is just my opinion, I've always liked G.I. Joe versus Transformers comics. And being a hardcore, I started collecting as an adult in the late 90s. So being a hardcore collector as an adult in the 2000s, I always wanted them to do a G.I. Joe versus Transformers toy line. Do it right, make the right characters where they go. Unfortunately, I'm not a fan of the new toys. I just don't think they look good enough for my preference, and that's just my preference. So it's kind of a letdown for me. But with them bringing in G.I. Joe into the Transformers, and Transformers is tilting. It is a very, what do we want to say? It could pivot. It's kind of pivot. It's been pivoting down as nobody really is interested, not much is interested in more. So it's trying to pivot back to the positive, right? Bringing in G.I. Joe franchise right now, with as bad as they've been doing with their movies, could just fucking bury this. I love G.I. Joe. I love those old comics, but track record is important. G.I. Joe live action movies have not been good. And you're going, in fact, so the first movie wasn't very good. Okay. The second movie, Retaliation, I liked better. There were some aspects I did like of it. The new Snake Eyes movie is not just a bad movie for me. It's a bad movie of any movie. I'm putting, if any movie you say that's a bad movie, it doesn't have to be any collector franchise, any pop culture, is a bad fucking movie. To bring that shit into this when we're trying to make it good again is a mistake. You're getting to the point, hold on, Marcos, you're getting to the point right now where it's trying to go up. Do we feel like there was a good balance between bots, humans? Enough bots had roles? That's been a problem too. The Bayverse, a lot of times we haven't got enough of bots screen time. So we're going to throw in a bunch of G.I. Joe shit that hasn't been able to make it because they've been fucking it up. I'm not a fan. I would love it be done right, but how are you going to incorporate all of those characters, right, in a franchise that is failing because they're fucking it up? I don't want it in Transformers. Go ahead, Dare. Sorry, Marcos was first. Let Dare go and then Marcos. Sorry about that.
Marcos, go first. You can go first. It's fine.
Okay, all I was gonna say was, but the producers of that GI Joe Retaliation and shit's not gonna be. Bumblebee's gonna have their own pick on what they say. So they already have like
No.
John Cena. Well,
No.
just per se, like John Cena's already like a GI Joe esque figure in the first one, right?
It has nothing to do with John Cena. So, did you see the symbol they showed at the end?
Yes.
That's live action movie symbol. G.I. Joe's
yeah,
never had
Pop
that
told me
symbol until they did live action movies.
Pops told me that. He said it was from that. Yeah. Well, okay. So give me who's Baroness because she's fucking hot. Not if they
But
throw her in the mix, dude.
As much as we love it, Marcos, they have not made good G.I. Joe movies. And this is supposed to be the same continuity because they got the symbol. I'm not down with it.
I watched the first one twice and I fell asleep during both of them.
Bad. It's the second one I do enjoy. I will watch the second one again. Go ahead,
I
Darren.
couldn't even tell you about the second one.
I had a thought on that with the G.I. Joe. So you guys are much bigger G.I. Joe fans than me. But would you be okay if they started G.I. Joe as kind of a Netflix show on the small screen to kind of tie it into the big screen? Because I don't think there's a way that you can do G.I. Joe and Transformers on the big screen.
There's not
make
enough.
it cohesive.
There's
There's not enough. It's too many characters, not
Yep.
enough time, whatever, right? So, like, would you be okay if they did like, hey, you know how Marvel do these series and then it kind of leads to a movie or whatever? Would you be okay if they did G.I. Joe on the small screen, meaning like, hey, you get a Netflix series or whatever series, and it's, you know, you get to meet the G.I. Joe characters, get invested in them, and then they come back and do a, hey, here's a G.I. Joe Transformer movie. Would that be better for you? Sorry, Ramrod, go ahead.
I just want to agree with you. Whether it's Netflix or their own movies or whatever, they're going to have to, you know, mimic the early MCU movies where they build up each individual character. They got to build up each individual franchise, you know, to a successful point, and then they can, you know, do some kind of crossover.
Marcos, I think you were next.
No. I'm sorry. I was Jay Holla. I know is burning in his seat right now because he's got a lot of information. He's probably just he's held back by being in chat. Not on
Hey, Jay Holla, you always got an invitation, bro. So I'm gonna go on what Ramrod just said, building characters, and he asked us if we would all like something like that, a specific Netflix series. I don't know. Originally, before Snake Eyes came out, that movie, I would say yes. Did you see their character building fucking Snake Eyes movie? You know how you said, Ramrod, do each individual like MCU did, Iron Man, right? Dude, they have to have a complete reconstruction of G.I. Joe before. So I'm not even if the people doing it now do it, no. If somebody else wants to take it over and give it a new shot, yes.
All right.
Go ahead, Briag. I know you haven't weighed in on any of this.
Well, it's hard for me to weigh in because I don't know a lot of G.I. Joe knowledge, but here's my thought. Let's just say this is a reboot. It is, let's just say it's separate from the Bayverse.
And they say it's not, correct?
Lorenzo, the producer that's produced with all of them, he's saying it's not. If someone else is saying that, I haven't heard it or read it, but he's the only one I've heard comment that it's definitely not a reboot. Travis Knight actually entertained the idea that it is a reboot. They just didn't know what they wanted to do with it. Who knows? G.I. Joe. What if they treated it as a replacement for Sector 7? Whereas you had a couple Joe agents going around with the Transformers or following the Transformers for a few movies. It's kind of hard to say where I'm going with this. Like, I'm thinking of Avengers, where, you know, Nick Fury comes in at the end, but more like Agent Simmons in the 07 movie, where one of the Joes is involved, whether it be Duke, Hawk, Scarlet. Scarlet would be my choice.
I hear you.
And I'm pulling from the IDW comic on this because it's been done in the comic, and I liked how they did it.
Tight.
have less characters and have a Joe secret agent. Use Noah again. Have him be the liaison between the Transformers and the Joes, and Scarlet being his director. Maybe go with that. I'm not real sure.
So the problem, I think, and that's great. It's good. I think the problem, I see it there. I think the problem you're going to run into is G.I. Joe fans, they want to see their characters. I don't know if they're going to be happy with only 2. You know what I'm saying? Dim down. Where's Cobra Commander? Where's Baroness? Where's Destro? Where's Firefly? Where's Snake Eyes? Where's their fucking rivalry? Where's fucking, you got sub characters, Ripcord, Jinx, all that stuff, right? G.I. Joe universe is motherfucking vast. I mean, it's huge. So I think you would run into a problem where the fans are like, look, what the fuck? You put more Transformers in this motherfucker than you did Joe's. I know what you're saying, Briag. This is a hard one to figure out.
I was gonna echo the same thing. It was like you said, you gotta have, if you're doing including G.I. Joe, you gotta have Cobra Commander, Destro, and Baroness, right? Like at a minimum. Zartan, you gotta have those for, right? And like going back to the earlier point, Transformers always has a problem managing that human bot screen time, right? And then you add at a minimum 6 other humans or whatever. Like you have, and then you want people to be invested in them outside of just the character. Like that's what I was saying earlier. You have to have a series where you kind of build these kind of interrelationships up, because you with G.I. Joe's, you have to have a lot of characters that everybody's invested in. And you can't, I don't see how you can do that like Marvel did, because like Transformers doesn't have that velocity or that fan base or whatever, because what we talked about earlier or whatever, just Bay kind of crapped on it. But like I do think you have to have at least at a bare minimum 8, right? Like 4 of the bad guys, 4 of the good guys. And like that takes a lot to build interest in those characters. So
go ahead, Marcos.
Well, it seems like this movie that we just watched left Beast Wars kind of behind on in the jungle and shit. So then everybody's flying out of the jungle, going back home to New York and shit, right? That's the end of the movie. So as far like if they bring in a G.I. Joe and Pac, you said like they would need to fulfill 35 characters, and I get you weren't saying this, but if you just got it and put it into like sectors of Earth, like Dare said, Zartan. So in the next movie, in order to bring in G.I. Joes, does it take place in the jungle bayous and shit where they mingle with Zartan and they pick up on that? Or does it go directly to Cobra Commander? Or does it go to like the desert area and like Serpentor's there and shit? Like where could they go? They start out small, right? They start out small, probably meeting Duke and fucking Lady J, and like Briag was suggesting to all this shit, man. I think it could work big time. And if they go to the snow like Star Wars, they had Hoth, and only you got the toy line with just Hoth. There's only like a couple of the land sites and shit bases, but same thing with it. You would just take sectors. I like that. I think that's fucking cool. G.I. Joe is welcome, and if a G.I. Joe fan doesn't like it, then that's on them for not breaking away from their generation one and just saying, "Oh, it's what it is."
Right. I see Ramrod. Let me go just a second before you go on, Ramrod. But that's not the problem though, Marcos. They would almost have to make 2 movies in a year and parallel them. So you got a heavy Transformers movie, right, and a couple Joes, and then the same year you released a G.I. Joe movie, maybe a couple Transformers. And then like Ramrod said, you got to lay this universe in. You can't slam all this fucking shit together, especially when they've been making the shit sandwich out of their franchise. I just, it goes beyond a G.I. Joe fan saying you didn't make there's no G1 in G.I. Joe. That's Transformers. So you're a real American hero. That's what they call them. That's what the 82 to like 93, 4, don't quote me on that. That's a real American hero. So they don't like when you group them. We're not G1. You get what I'm saying? We're a real American hero over here. But they've been fucking that up, man. Go ahead, Ramron.
Well, I was just going to agree with you that I think that
I see you, Dare.
I don't think it would be a good idea to put G.I. Joe in a Transformers movie unless you have a successful G.I. Joe movie coming out to back it up, to set the stage for G.I. Joe. And then you could possibly might have a couple crossovers, even if it's like a single character or something, one character over here, and then maybe in G.I. Joe, you have a Transformer. Although I think you have to work up to it. Don't go too fast. I think is the important part, is build each side up, and then you can start to cross over.
Right. This is a topic, man. This is a whole show right here. Dare, I know he's got to go. So Dare, do you want to go ahead and rate? Do you like this movie? Kind of like Big Stan did. Do you like it? Give it a rating and lay it in and lay it kind of categorize the live action movies in your opinion.
Oh yeah, definitely. I liked it. I think it was, really good. I say that. I think it was really good. I give it a B minus. If I was ranking all the live action movies, I would still say Dark of the Moon is my first. I think Dark of the Moon is just a good movie. Take out genre, comic book, pop culture. What I think Dark of the Moon is a good movie. My second is the 06 movie. 07 movie. Damn, my bad. I think that's just another good movie. Then I would put this one, Rise of the Beast, as number 3. Then after Rise of the Beast would be Age of Extinction. It's number 4. Then Bumblebee will be number 5. Then Age of Extinction will be number 6, and then final be on The Last Night.
Okay. What kind of number we guess? I think somebody rated it as an 8.5, maybe a 9. I think Big Stan did. If you were to rate it,
1 through 10, probably 7.5, maybe a 7.5, maybe a 8, depending on how I'm feeling.
And you did a nice look. You did a video a couple of days ago. Your three good things about the movie and 3 bad things about the movie. Kind of lays it down the middle for your opinion. If you guys want to go ahead and check it out, his channel is it's Dare 2727, and he gives a pretty good take. And if you do like Transformers, go check him out because he does a good job. You're going to get it called down the middle. And even if you don't agree with him, man, he's not going to get on you, man. He's a very good guy and very, very well respected in the Transformer community. And we're glad to have you, man.
Oh, yeah, man. I always love Pat. Thank you for letting me be on. It was nice seeing everybody again. I love all you guys to work or whatever. I was just watching you guys talk about the Transformer Atroxy. I never can pronounce that. M3, I always look at you, Marcos. You guys are cool. Appreciate it again, Pat. Hope I can be on again another time.
Good to see you, man.
Yep.
Good to see you.
You are definitely part of the fam, bro. You are on the fam here, man.
All right, y'all have a good evening.
You
All
too,
right,
man.
Thanks for joining us.
And I really hate to have that opinion, but it's not a good time. So when I saw this movie, man, so I'll rate my movies right now. Okay, so I'm gonna go 07, number 1. I'm gonna go Rise of the Beasts 2. I'm gonna go Dark of the Moon 3. Revenge of the Fallen 4. Age of Extinction 5. Last Night, this is people aren't going to agree with. Last Night, wait, I might have missed one. I think there's 7, right? But anyway, the last 2, next to last is going to be The Last Night, and the very last is going to be Bumblebee for my personal preference. What do you think, Bragg? And I'm going to rate this movie at a 9. Even with the G.I. Joe at the end that they need to keep away from and keep the fuck out of here, I'm calling this a 9.
Okay, so as for a number rating, and I do the traditional 1 to 10, but when I say a 5 on a movie, to me, 5 is middle of the ground. It's not horrible. It's not great. It's just, you could watch it. Something's on TV, you could watch it. For me, movies like Age of Extinction and The Last Night are 5s. Like, I'm not going to choose to go get them off my shelf unless I'm watching them as a series, like in a row, just for the story. If I see it on TV, it's something to watch, sure. But this movie,
For me,
Hey,
it's
hold
7.5 to an. Go ahead.
The drum roll.
I'd say 7.5 to 8. And if I had to rank it with the other shows, the other 7 Transformers movie, Last Night is last for me, just because the story and where they were trying to go with it killed it for me. Like they went too big, making Unicron Earth and all of that. Age of Extinction was okay, just kind of corny, and it didn't feel like it had enough focus on the Dinobots. And like it felt like they were halfway trying to reinvent a little, but they didn't quite get there.
Would you agree it was a lockdown movie when they built it up as a Dinobot movie?
Yeah,
And
I would absolutely say I enjoyed the bounty hunting aspect of it way more than the Dinobots.
that's a similar thing with them trying to bring G.I. Joe in. That's the exact same thing's going to happen. They fucked up the Dinobots, and they're badass. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So those two are the bottom for me. I would say Rise of the Beast and 07 feel very much the same for me, because 07 kickstarted all this. The excitement I felt in that movie, I felt during this movie. So I would say these two are pretty equal in my book. And after that, I really enjoyed Revenge of the Fallen and Dark of the Moon, and Bumblebee to a lesser extent, but it was good. So number-wise, I would say this movie and 07 were 7.5 to 8. Revenge of the Fallen and Dark of the Moon, solid 7.5. Bumblebee, 6.5 to 7. And the other two, Age of Extinction and The Last Night, 5s.
Jay Hollis says it's definitely a 9 from him, and Crimson Raptor says Rise of the Beast is solid 8 out of 10. But for me, number 1, Rise of the Beast, number 2, Bumblebee, and the rest I could care less. With a haha afterwards. And Moto Viper says 9 for him. Go ahead, Ramrod.
I'm going to rank them in groups because that's how I watch them. I definitely think, the first 3 Bay movies and Bumblebee and Rise of the Beasts are up there, because those are movies that, I'll watch again. I'll go purchase the movies and watch them again. And of course, like I said, this is how I watch them. I would put the first 3 Bay movies all together as like an 8.5. Of course, the 4 and 5, I'm not even going to rank. They're, I didn't like them. Well, they were okay. I don't think they knew what they were doing. But for Bumblebee and Rise of Beasts, I can say that I liked Rise of Beasts better than Bumblebee. But together, I would say 8.0, and it could go up depending on the next movie. If we see another live action movie, in this storyline, that could go up.
Jay Hollis says Rise of the Beast 1, Dark of the Moon 2, 07 3, then B follows it up. Yeah, and like Ramrod was saying, he doesn't like the Age of Extinction in The Last Night, and that's what a lot of people, that's the taste left in their mouth from Transformers. So go ahead, Marcos. Do it.
I'm with Ramrod on choosing it how I watch. So I go to like Amazon Prime and shit, and I can fucking watch 1, 2, 3, 4. I stop at 5. And what are we calling 6?
Bumblebee.
Exactly. Okay. And so 6 and now 7 introduced. 5 is the only one that I haven't made it all the way through. Although I like Nitro, I like kind of the. I couldn't. It was the worst one. Sorry, everybody. But anyway, all the other ones on Amazon Prime, I've rented. I put a lot of fucking $2.99s in these motherfuckers. The only one that I've purchased is the first one, because I know I'm going to watch that 3 times more than fucking all the rest of them. So that's number one for me. Number two falls with fucking Bumblebee. And now, see, I wasn't a Beast Wars fan either, but I love the way that they did this, and that's perfect. So that's 2 and 3, as well as Age of Extinction. I don't care what anybody says. I like Marky Mark. I like that they threw Bud Light all over in that motherfucker. He fucking grabbed a bottle. He's like, and fucking threw it and shit. Bud Light shit's all over. That's badass. And it's like, shout out, man. I love that. And I love Optimus Prime. Man, that movie's fucking great. And then the other ones I loved, except for 5. So I can't place a 3 or 4, a 4 or 3, but 1 and 2 are definitely the first one, and then Bumblebee over. No, right? See, no, number 2. I can't find the number 2 pack, but my number 1 is still the first Transformers.
It's hard to beat the nostalgia of
that one. When Blackout came down, we haven't seen anything like that before. He sat down. What did he do? He fucking annihilated that base. Fuck yes, dude.
And then god damn, then you saw Barricade and his little minion frenzy was flipping them off. It was like, the way the Autobots came in, you just had chills, man. Mm-hmm. If you were a Beast Wars fan, I think you'd have chills with seeing a lot of these characters, man. It's bringing me into. I never liked or had anything to do with Beast Wars till I met Briag. Yep. I respect him as a person and a man, and he would talk about him, and I would listen. And that's the first step to understanding one another, and maybe understand something you've never watched. Is just having respect and hearing what somebody has to say first. I always say if somebody won't fucking listen to you, or there's a loss of respect there. If you got to fight with somebody, there's just loss of respect. So that's why you should just jump on out. There's no need to continue it if you know somebody like that, because it's just there's no respect. Yeah.
So just saying, the first 2007 Transformers movie, I went back 3 times and watched it in the theater. This movie I'm watching 3 times in the theater, and Bumblebee I only watched twice in the theater. If that says anything. I want to see the third one. I might go a 4th fucking time, man, and just be like, wait for it to come out on Prime. It's not the point. It's like 16, or I think it was $10, and it's right there. I don't have to drive anywhere. It's like
pause it.
Yeah,
check it out.
And parking is cool. It's fun, fucking nice, man.
Well, you want to know why this was so good? I remember going with my wife to the first movie, and we saw the second one, but we ain't been to a Transform movie in forever. This one, not only did I go with my wife, but I went with my friends Briag and Ramrod. So therefore, you get what I'm saying. It's something that brought you together. So naturally, every time I watch, I'm like, man, I went to see that with my friends. I saw that with my wife. So yeah, I would tell you what, to get me back in the theater to watch another Transform movie is almost it's almost a miracle. So they got me back in, and I'm glad I did go.
So if I was going to do a scale 1 to 10, it's a 10. Another 10 was RoboCop. And I was thinking last night of my 10s. There's only a couple. But here's the thing. 10 is the old 9, because remember your credit score used to only go up to 800. Now your credit score seemingly goes up to 900. So there's an 11 lurking, and I haven't found an 11 yet. So you might say I would say a 9, but I'm talking a 10. It's a 10. But there's an 11. The only thing I can't find that's imperfect with this one, I was thinking about that. There's actually nothing imperfect about it. And the only one thing I'd say, and I feel bad for saying it, is the worst point. Now, I'm not even going to say, because that's hating, and I'm not even going to say. But there's a worst, that's why it doesn't get the full, that's the only reason. But it's me. It's not it. It's something that I have that I'm like, and it's nothing. Yeah, okay, it's Wheeljack. Boom. I hated when he transformed. Birds flew out of him. I don't mind.
Yeah, I need to see it again, because I did not see birds, bro.
Oh man, birds or butterflies, whatever the fuck they were.
It made you think of Beachcomber from G1.
Dude, yeah.
Okay,
that all hippie and shit. He's like, hey,
that should have been who he was. Good one.
Yeah, but then when so then I adapted to like him. Okay, and as he came up, he's like, I know the perimeter right there. Hey, and look, and he went like this. His eyes got bigger. It was pretty cool, dude. And he had the digital. He was cool. So I ended up liking him, and then he had suspenders. So with the toy, if I see a fucking little masterpiece right around, I'm like, it's not bad. It's not bad. You know, they got to do it right though, man. They got to do it right. But he was the only thing that I was like, stupid.
Well, I think that's going to conclude it. I think we have gone through the movie pretty well. Okay, one other question. Will you guys recommend this to other non-Transformer fans and Transformer fans?
Yes. Yeah, I've got people waiting on me at work that want to know. And that they'll go see it if I say it's decent because they're not Transformer people, but they like going to watch movies. And there's only one guy at work that he gets excited about this because he's got an 8-year-old son that's really starting to get excited about Transformers. And so yeah, I got both sides of it waiting at work wanting to know how it was.
Go ahead, Ramrod.
Yeah, when we first started talking, I criticized some of the characters, but overall, that's just a minor, nitpick for me. I like this movie. I will recommend this movie to anybody that is, interested in any kind of, sci-fi tech, giant robots beat up bad guys kind of movie.
I'm going to go ahead and recommend it to, as Crimson Raptor says, normies as well as collectors. So last night after the movie, we all went and played video games and stuff for a while, and then we left. I don't know if you guys see me, but right across the street when you leave was a McDonald's. So I'm like, man, I need a McDouble, bro. So I went through the drive-thru and that took forever. So I just left. So I don't know if you see me leaving. I don't know if you guys were there, but I went to Taco Bell that's right across the street from my house. And I was going through the drive-thru and there were some young kids and I'm like, hey man, what's going on? They're like real chatty. I'm like, not much, just got out of the theater. What do you see, man? I just saw Transformers. Like, is that shit good? I was like, fuck yeah, it's good. Go see that shit. A dude comes back out. He's like, is it good? I've been thinking about going and seeing this motherfucker. And I'm like, they were hyped, dude. So I got me even more hyped about it. Go ahead, Marcos.
Oh, no, that's hella cool. Yeah, shout out to Pac, Briag, and fucking Ramrod for being able to hook up all to go with Christy and go to the movies together. That's sick, dude. Fucking epic. But as far as what was the main because I remember, but I don't.
Would you recommend it to collectors?
Oh.
And as Crimson says, normies.
Yeah, so tomorrow's Monday, and I've got 6 normies in the office. I'm going to email them all. Just so you know, it's a good one. They won't know what I'm talking about.
And tell them all. Make Transformers great again.
I would recommend it, and I would pass it on to man. I tell you, I went by myself the first time. I loved that. Didn't have to wait for nobody. I was there an hour early. Fucking happy as fuck, dude. Second time I went with Autumn, Chrissy, Marky, Trinity, and Trinity and Autumn's mom, and Trinity and Autumn's brother. We all went as a group. Fucking watch that shit. And then fucking I'm going a third time because Maisie missed this last time because she had to work. So she's going again with Autumn. And Autumn's even going to go see it again, dude. She don't give a fuck. She liked it. All of who I went with liked it and shit. And they're normies with an experience of
you.
Right, well, all right. So boom, they loved it. So Maisie, we're going Tuesday. They already bought the tickets and shit. So yeah, I highly. Air Razor, Scourge.
Air Razor gets 3.
Noah.
3.
Noah, Prime. Bumblebee's fine. I was glad he died though. But when he came back, I was like, that's fine because he made a comeback. It was cool as fuck, dude. And my wife loved it, dude. She's like, that was awesome. And she knows all the stuff. It was great. It's great. It was 1994 all over, man. It was great.
All right, man. We're gonna go ahead and get out of here. Real quick tidbit. When Noah got the Mirage suit, that reminded me. Now Noah's not like this character, but him getting the suit and a human having a suit reminded me of Kicker and Energon. If anybody knows about Kicker and Energon, Kicker was a whiny little, basically a whiny little kid, right? Noah wasn't like that, but the suit and a human getting something like that definitely reminded me of Kicker. But yeah.
Real quick, so what was the interaction with Transformers and humans where humans were the
Headmasters.
headmasters? Is that vibe that I got, dude? Only because
I was
That's
waiting for
nuts.
that. I was waiting for him to maybe do that, but
then he'd have to be I don't know how headmasters is because he's not he's the pilot of the head, correct?
Headmaster is the pilot of the alt mode, and he's the brains of the bot, right, guys?
It depends on which continuity you follow. If you're-
Transfectors. We're not going to get too hard into it.
Yeah, if you're USA Japan, all the robots in their heads had their own personality, and then the people they fit into the head also had their own personality, and they would basically help drive the car and shoot while the robot was driving the car.
Oh shit!
If you're in Japan, the heads were the actual robots. They were tiny, they were micro to save Energon. And when the war kicked up again, they made these huge bodies called transtectors that they attached to go to war.
Oh,
Two different things. That's where Hasbro and Takara split ways in the old G1 thing.
it's crazy. It's always to conserve energon is how they manipulate their body size and shit.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
like people on this panel, our Energon's running out, bro, and people are ready to go to bed because I see Bragg and Ramrod down there. But we're gonna have to end this, and it was a great show. Big Stan, Dare, Ramrod, Briag, M3 as always. Man, it's a great show. Good time to hang out. Seeing how you know what we need to do to take us out. Shout out to Chat Squad. Motherfucking Chat Squad was lit tonight. Everybody was fucking cool as always with good knowledge and great sense of humor and personality. Thank you very much for everybody that joined in the chat. And seeing how Marcos missed it, do you think maybe, Briag, you can send us out again? Maybe seeing how you started us off, maybe you could send us out with a little something?
Make Transformers great again.
Hold
Do
on,
it.
let me get my orange toupee up here.
Oh,
Let me think.
yeah, on the spot. Sorry about the.
Quite frankly, it was one of the best movies we've ever seen. Lots of good people have seen it. Lots of good people here saying it. It was just one of the greatest. And we would like to make Transformers great again. Great like 2007. Great like the Revenge of the Fallen. Great like the Dark of the Moon. Leonard Nimoy was in that. Leonard Nimoy, he used to voice Galvatron and he voiced Sentinel Prime, and it was just one of the great ones. Really great people, great genes. Him on Star Trek with the pointy ears playing Mr. Spock. Just very wonderful.
Peace.